Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Kyushu University and IIT Hyderabad, a very warm welcome to all the participants to KYUDAI India 2026. Myself, Akhil, an assistant professor of Faculty of Agriculture of Kyushu University, and I will be your MC for today's program. So, to formally begin KYUDAI India 2026, let's start by the ceremonial lamp lighting. I'd like to invite Professor Shuji Shimizu, Vice President of Kyushu University, and Professor Murthy, Director of IITH.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to KYUDAI Now in Hyderabad. Excuse me. Thank you very much for coming, and we are so happy to have you here in this venue. So, I'd like to express my sincere special thanks to Professor Murthy, the director of IIT Hyderabad, with us here today. So probably I have to explain you what the KYUDAI Now means and what it is. So KYUDAI actually means the Kyushu University in Japanese. It's a short for the Kyushu University in Japanese. So KYUDAI Now means that we would like to share the information of what we are doing now in Kyushu University. We'd like to give you the information, what the update research or education we are doing in Kyushu University. So start of this program is when we had a variety of associations of Kyushu University foreign students after their graduation. So we have around 10 alumni association in Kyushu University. So the main target of this KYUDAI Now is actually the alumni people who went back to their own country. So we started this 2 years ago in Indonesia for the first time, followed by Thailand, and then Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines, and also in Mongolia. And then we went to Egypt last year, and then Turkey 2 months ago, and in Taiwan as well, the last month. And we are going to have another in the Philippines in maybe next month. So anyway, we are expanding this activity all over Asia and some part in Africa or Middle East where we have lots of alumni people. And this time, this is the first time in India because we organized the Indian Association of the Kyushu University Alumni just last year. And the president is Professor Harsha sitting there, and then having a lecture at the end of the last speaker of this forum later. So when we started planning of the KYUDAI Now version in India, actually there were several options and the candidate where to go. And we discussed several places, but it was not so difficult to make a final decision to have it in Hyderabad after knowing that this university has a very, very strong relations with Japan. And sorry to say that I did not personally know much about that, but I studied a lot, and now I know that you are doing a variety of human exchanges, both student and faculty members, and lots of programs in common, research collaboration, and you just opened the Japan Cultural Center, and then Indian Japan President Symposium meeting 2 months ago. So we're really happy to make the final decision that we have this first KYUDAI Now in India here in Hyderabad. So one thing, but different, this Indian version from other KYUDAI now in Asia is that we usually have a variety of presentation, including not only the engineering, but science, human science, or medicine, or design, or many things, multi-variety of presentation. But this time, because this is an engineering university, so the focus is more on the engineering part and not other part like dental or nursing or many other parts. So our team consists of 11 faculty members this time from Japan with 4 students. And in that team, we have 3 Indian faculty members, which is very encouraging for us so that they can enhance our interactions, collaborations, and human exchanges after this commemorative event. So please enjoy the following presentations so that we can have more collaborations after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shimizu Sensei. Now, I request Professor Murthy, Director of IIT Hyderabad, to give a few words as opening remarks for KYUDAI 2026.
Good afternoon. Namaste to all of you friends. I'm delighted that Professor Shimizu with his whole team is here from Kyushu University. And as he mentioned, the relationship of IIT Hyderabad with Japan is very long. 2008 when we were born, we were told that you are born with a Japanese support and with Japan strongly supporting IIT Hyderabad in many ways. And including the building in which we are sitting today has been supported by the JECA grant and quite a number of other buildings also. But more importantly, we always believe buildings do not mean much. What happens inside the buildings is more important. The research that happens inside the buildings is where people come together and collaborate together. I always believe that collaborations are key to growth, key to success. And when people come together, there's a lot of synergy that comes in, and we will be able to ensure 1 + 1 is significantly greater than 2. And that's exactly is being demonstrated. I already know that, in fact, one of our faculty sitting here, she is doing a PhD there, and already quite a number of faculty are collaborating with faculty at Kyushu University. In fact, one of our colleagues is right now sitting in Kyushu, Sai Santosh. I think some of you know. So this is something which is essential for the growth for both the countries. Many problems that each of us deal in both the countries are global, whether it is environmental problem, whether it is a healthcare problem, or anything to a large extent. There are problems which are generally of importance to various countries, and it is important that we pick up such topics and start working together and find local solutions for such global problems. So today morning, for example, we had a center inaugurated on our campus by Gießen University. Gießen University has a world-famous institute called Institute for Lung Health, an institute which looks at lung diseases, and this is the most famous lung diseases institute in the whole world. And the director of that was sitting here in the other hall in the morning, and we inaugurated that center. So we would like to see more and more such collaborations happening where we pick up problems of mutual importance and start working together. And IIT Hyderabad has been doing its best in various ways, including, as Professor just now mentioned, that we have even set up a what is called Japan Culture Center to see that every student who goes from here, you are all aware of what is called the Lotus program that has been launched we played a significant role in the launching of the Lotus program by connecting 1,000 faculty members from 23 IITs to another 1,000 faculty members in Japanese universities, and that has resulted in the whole Lotus program. And Professor Hashimoto, the president of JST, was here on this campus on November 15, and in the other auditorium in the same building, he announced saying that next year we will take 1,000 students. This year they have taken 300 students under the Lotus program. They want to increase it. And we thought that, when you are trying to have such a large students population going to Japan, they should know about the culture of Japan. They should know about Japanese language. So we have already recruited 2 Japanese language teachers on our campus who are going to train all the students from all institutions in the country, whoever are going to go under the Lotus program, free of cost, without charging them anything, so that when they go, they appreciate the culture of Japan. I lived for 2 years, I fell in love with Japan, and whatever we are doing now is thanks to that love that got initiated 25 years back when I was there in Tsukuba. So that is something every one of our students, I tell them many a times, when you go to US, you don't know anything about a culture, but when you go to Japan, you learn something called culture. So this is very important that people see there are quite a number of similarities between India and Japan. We would like to see the Japan Culture Center also not just supports students in terms of Japanese culture, but also does a lot of research on what are the similarities or differences between Indian culture and Japan culture. We have a department called Liberal Arts, and Liberal Arts is going to take a leadership in identifying PhD students on topics that are of mutual interest between the Indian culture and Japanese culture. So we want to see significantly this place becoming like a hub for the whole India to get connected to the Japan, and we will do our best to ensure that. And in the process, we would like to strengthen our relations with Kyushu, and we have just today morning only decided that I will go in March to Kyushu and to strengthen our relations more and more. Thank you very much once again to the whole team from Kyushu University and Professor Suzuki, who has led the team, and we are looking forward to more and more collaborations with you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Professor Modi. I now welcome Associate Professor Mihiko Yokota to explain about Kyushu University as well as Institute of Asian and Oceanian Studies.
Good afternoon, Namaste. मेरा नाम योगता है, आपसे मिलकर जाएगा. Nice to meet you. Welcome to Kyushu University Forum, KYUDAI now. How many of you know Kyushu? Where is Kyushu? Okay, wow. Maybe half of them here knows where is Kyushu. So I'd like to introduce where is Kyushu, where is Kyushu University, how Kyushu University look like. So this slide shows I would like to spend 5 minutes just to introduce our university. Kyushu University, in your slide shows the location of the Kyushu University, and the distance between Fukuoka and Hyderabad is about 4,400 to 5,500 kilometers. Flight from Fukuoka to Hyderabad by Hong Kong is about 12 hours excluding transit time. So this is the route I took this time. So Fukuoka is, as you can see from this map, the Fukuoka is the north part of Japan. The
West
of
part.
Kyushu.
West part.
West, yes.
Not
West
the
part
north.
of Japan. Yes. Thank you very much for correction. And the capital city of Fukuoka Prefecture is Fukuoka City, which has 1.5 million population. And this is how Fukuoka City look like. We have a very beautiful ocean, beach, lake, Ohori Park, and from airport to the city is only 5 to 10 minutes. Very good access. This slide shows Kyushu University's 4 campuses, which shows in a red circle point. Ito campus is our main new campus located in the west part of Fukuoka city. Hospital campus, we have called Maedashi campus, and Chikushi campus, and Ohashi campus, 4 campuses. This is a photo of our main campus called Ito campus. And Ito campus is one of the largest campus in Japan, which has 2.72 million square meters. And it is a little bit larger than the IIT Hyderabad campus, according to the Wikipedia and the Kyushu University website. So we have a very beautiful campus close to the ocean, close to the mountain, close to the forest, but far from the city. But maybe not too far, but about 30 minutes from the city, central city by train. This slide shows the ranking of Kyushu University. It's the 7th Japanese ranking in 2025. QS World University ranking in 2025 is the 167th in the world and 34th in Asia. We have total number of students of more than 18,000, both undergraduate, graduate students. We have about 14% of all students are international students, with 2,600. From India, we have 40 to 50 international students from India. We have more than 2,000 faculties, and including 115 non-Japanese faculty. Kyushu University has 12 undergraduate schools. It's listed in this. It's a integrated the total university, and we have 18 graduate schools. So we have a partner institution in India, and IIT Hyderabad is one of them. We have a MOU with engineering and design faculty. If you want to know more about Kyushu University, you can check by YouTube. We have a lot of Kyushu University YouTube video. So thank you very much. I hope we can see you next time in Fukuoka, Kyushu University. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Sansi, for that wonderful introduction about Kyushu University as well as Q-AOS. Now we will begin our first section, which is on engineering, AI, IT, and physics. So our first speaker is Professor Sakura Koichi. He'll be speaking on AI is the new protagonist, emerging cybersecurity threats and challenges in the age of intelligence system. Professor Sakura Koichi is from Faculty of Information Science and Electrical Engineering of Kyushu University. Sakura, thank you.
Thank you. Today's my talk is about AI. Mainly I'm working with Department of Informatics, Computer Science, also working with Cybersecurity Research Center. The leader is Professor Okamura. After my talk, he present about this center. Also, now they are involved in the new research center of the quantum computing system. Also, the quite new graduate school, the Mass for Innovation. Quite strong, encourage mathematics for industry. So this is my academic background, also with my personal history with India. Background is mathematics and PhD with a computer after the company. and moved to the cybersecurity around the last 10 years. Also the last 5 years blockchain, and also the quantum computing crypto. Now the most hot topics is AI, especially we focus on the AI security. And my first visited India is 20 years ago. Chennai was Chennai, first Asia crypto, one of the big crypto conference. Professor Ranga organized. And after that, I collaborate well with Kolkata, Professor B. Malloy, the ISI Kolkata. And some Japanese project collaboration, the invited PhD student to work on paper, and also some project with JSTS or IIT or Kolkata. Later, the Obama Sensei introduced some joint project with IIT Delhi on cybersecurity. And past the recent joint work contribution with India, the first point is academic joint paper. I write India researcher with more than 550 joint paper. It's some 10% published with real paper. Also, the invited young postdoc researcher, PhD student from India, the 15 or more. And now the most of the working well is foreign country. Murinadi is still going well, is in hometown, Kolkata. And Sushmita Ruji, also he's from Kolkata, but now that she working with UN staff. And Samina Bag working with UK. And Wollongong, Michigan, or IIT Madras. Of course, Panduranga is quite senior research among computer science. And every year these days, India University Institute asked me to the external review of their PhD thesis. So more than 20 submissions last past 10 years. But every year these days, 5 or 6 submissions I asked review. And the last year's last one is October, the IIT's Varanasi submit some reviews of paper. It's also the contribution to the Indian academic community. Also, government joint project with crypto, cybersecurity, AI security. And last year, or very recent, the collaboration with Indian researcher. Eventually, I have a chance to meet again Professor Panduranga. It was 2024, the December in the Sapporo. It was snow in the so he wearing some sweater. Suddenly he come. Last time I met him in person 10 years ago in China. It's a good meeting. Also, the 6 months last year, I invited 2 researchers from ISI Kolkata. They are a couple. Splitter and Anandra, the crypto researcher. Also, the Agile crypto. This was last October in Vietnam, Nature. So, me and Nandi. Also, some Vietnamese researcher, but majority this community is Russian researcher. You know now they are quite restrict allowed to the visiting country. So Vietnam is okay, and next year, this year plan in Kolkata again, second time. So I'm involved as a steering committee member, only Japan committee member. But not yet for me the collaboration with Hyderabad. So that's why I come now for the joint collaboration. Please. So moving back to the main topics, AI, cybersecurity, because AI is quite developing, especially the drastic invention to the chat GTP, the generative AI or large language model, you also enjoy the power of the AI now. But it's also the quite risk because the malicious guy use this kind of technology to abuse. So situation very drastic change. You know the fake media now, the SNS or YouTube, etc. Quite dangerous, even our daily life. So the point is geopolitics. You know the geopolitics, of course, India, major country, and China, US, so Russia. But now each country invests a lot to the AI because AI control everything. Some people say the AI is a new invention after the nuclear weapon. So that's why every country invests a lot, government. So that's why we have a good chance with Kyushu University and Hyderabad joint research project because Japan has very strong history is robotics, safety design like a vehicle. And India is quite strong smart technology, mathematics, or is AI software. So we have a collaboration there. That's why we propose to the Lotus program, etc. The government to invite the younger smart Indian researcher. Also, another topics, not only AI, but quantum science technology. Now the Kyushu University has two institutes or research center. One is the quantum computing center, developing quantum computing. Also, the quite new one, the Institute of the Space-Time Quantum. It's a more scientific. Professor Adachi Sensei involved this project. And the topics is hardware or device, also the material. Maybe after this part, second part, maybe process introduce something. Also my background engineering, quantum safety security, cryptography. So very strong. Also I live head of researcher, strong crypto group. Also some blockchain technologies, total sensing. It is not only AI, but quantum topics is two major topics now in the collaboration side. So, cybersecurity, the Okamura sensei, the chairperson, Kyushu University, the owner of Japan. And quantum safety, quantum crypto invest a lot in the government. Or computer, developing the quantum computer too. And now the topic is moving to the from cybersecurity AI security because one major reason. Of course, cyber world is quite huge. Last 10 years, or still a lot of the cybercrime. But AI is now quite developing and human develop. But even the designer human cannot understand very perfectly that they're making the AI itself. They have some cheating. So it means not normal. It's very dangerous. It's human developed AI cannot control by the human himself. So the AI is developing still as a power of the weapon. That's why the situation changed from the cyber security to the AI security. Also, the AI is a collaboration with the quantum technology, quantum AI technology, because quantum computer handling the wave, not linear. So AI higher dimensional model is very complex, but quantum computer process fast. So that's why this collaboration is quite natural. And cyber security, quantum security, AI security, we could collaborate with Hyderabad smart researcher and Kyushu University. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sakurai Sensei. Now it's the time of questionnaire for 5 minutes. If anybody has some questions, please. Yes, please. collaboration.
Yes, this time I have asked my Indian research friend, but they are from Bangalore. Do you know some good researcher in that? So he introduced a Protagonist research group or some big, huge crypto research group. Also, the point is quantum. Maybe of course, Japan. Oh, right again. This one. Yeah, Japan invests a lot to developing the quantum computer now. Also, the NQM, it's a quantum mission, national quantum mission, Indian project. So maybe I got involved, so we could collaborate each other. Also, to my knowledge, quantum computing systems has one Indian PhD student, she from the IIIT Japan. She did some research, postdoc researcher from India. So I heard something about quantum memory or quantum material. So of course, each of the very strong area to collaborate every day. Especially now the present something. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the very encouraging comments and answers. Tomorrow, I hope we have a deep discussion.
Hello, Cybersecurity. I am Shreyas S. from Chennai Institute of Technology in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. I am a student of the Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Department. So, as you had mentioned, there is a strong natural relation between cybersecurity, AI security, and quantum computing. And also, there are many breakthroughs that are being made in quantum computing recently as well. So, initially, during my first year, I had done a project related to AI security, relating to sound detection alarm type system using AI sound detection software. So, based on your experience with AI security and quantum computing, how would quantum computing help augment in that, and what are the skills would be required necessarily to better understand the field and apply it?
So when the first time that you built the project of the AI security, 5 years ago or 3 years ago, when?
I did it 2 years ago during my, not 2 years ago, actually 1.5 years ago during my first year. I'm currently in my second year, sir.
Okay. The situation quite drastically changed after the development of ChatGPT. Before the ChatGPT, Japan is very strong in the statistics or mathematics, like the kind of old style AI. But now, due to such new technologies, Japan rather have a delay against the US or China. And quantum computer, of course, Japan very strong in developing the computer itself. But now everything is moved to the quantum computer. But no yet exactly they are handling the operating the computational layer, but still challenging the AI itself. But some major journals of Nature or some good paper published, but the majority is some UK or US researcher. And you know the most invested countries, even the quantum computer like the US and China, because it's like the weapon. Because quantum computer resolves crypto, strong crypto. If they resolving the current technology of cryptography, every communication can write up, no protection. So that's why they invest a lot as a part of the weapon. Also, now AI is a station of the weapon. That's why they invest a lot. So the station change, but also a good chance of business. You are from company.
No, sir. I'm a university student in Chennai Institute of Technology, which is in Tamil Nadu.
So what's the future plan?
My future plan is to pursue my higher studies in Japan and then go for a job there.
Ah, great. Yeah. So please try to come to Japan. Yeah. Start-
Definitely. I got it.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Abhay Bhushan from Chennai Technology. I'm pursuing my third year of artificial intelligence and data science. And my question is, like you talk about the AI security, is there any possibility to include federated learning in quantum mechanics to achieve AI learning?
Yes, it's a part of the AI security.
Yeah. How is we include blockchain with that to increase the security for it?
Yes, that's a good question. Yes, now the blockchain with AI is all hot topics. Maybe the Kotaro Sensei presents something.
And one more, what are the opportunities for the international student to do research in Kyushu University?
Yes, many chance because now the president mentions JST Lotus program, invite younger researcher. Few years ago, very small number of the invited position, but now they extending these days 200 more students are invited to the program, so you can apply. That's why we come here. So the also the president mentioned a lot. Check the JST Lotus program, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Agency. Thank you so much. Here we can Dr. Agency. Next, it's a pleasure to invite Kojiro Komura, Professor Kojiro Komura of Research Institute for Information Technology, Kyushu University, to present his research titled What Can Be Seen Externally in Cybersecurity.
Hello everyone, this is Kojiro Komura of Kyushu University. Actually, Sabara Sensei tried to relationship between the Kyushu University and Indian researcher. But today I just prepare what I doing our research, and I don't prepare the last collaboration with India. As I memory, I had this is the second time to come IIT Hyderabad. I think 2019 May I have visited here to have some discussion between JST and DST project. But 6 years ago, it was very old time, and the technology is changed. And today, again, I prepare quite different. Actually, I'm working security, but my interest is security management. Today, I introduce how Kyushu University is doing security management in campus. This is abstract today, so many characters. But I think situation may different in Japan and India. But Japan's case, security management, I mean information security management, not for security, very important. For example, if some attacker attack organization and he leaked the confidential information or he broke website, it's very social problem. And recently, even if someone try just login, and after login, if he did not nothing, but then organization has big problem, and the organization must say in front of the TV or something, we are a very big mistake. Then we are very caring about the cybersecurity attack. Then currently, I think your case is very similar. Many engineers try to ask general things about cybersecurity. Please do not do this. Please change your password. Please don't teach your password or something like that. But it is not effective. Recently, getting current cybersecurity risk organization and taking the proper action in advance is very important. It means preparing is very important. And this is not a very decent technology, but really old, but it is very focused and very new. ASM, Attack Surface Management, becomes very popular in Japan. And today, I will talk about how to use information from ASM. This is this slide just I borrowed from Google. This says how security incident happen in worldwide. So Asia and Japan case exploit. It means very vulnerability. Attacking to vulnerability is very much rather than other area. This is Kyushu University's case. So average is not high, but exploit average is about 30%. Others will through or etc. Anyway, there are many attacking programs in Kyushu University as a result. So this is an introduction about today's main talk about ASM, Attack Surface Management. Sorry about many characters. So ASM is trying to check the organization's ICT information, setting or policy or something from outside. Then people can know which kind of version of web server, how to set up DNS, or how many login sites or something else. It is easy to get. So this is different from so-called penetration testing. Penetration testing just try to attack really, but ASM is collect information from outside. Then currently government makes Ministry of Education recommend to all of national university to use ASM. So this is a picture. Actually, I have some good relationship with a company from Thailand. It's a Cycraft, and this company provides ASM service. Then I'm using this service with discussion with Cycraft. And this is before the result about data. Already Professor Yokoda Sensei introduced Kyushu University's statistics, but again, so almost number of staffs include faculty and general staff is 10,000, and students are 20,000. This is undergraduate school and graduate school, and number of schools 12, and graduate schools 18. And we have a big hospital and a big library, and also many centers like Cybersecurity Center or institute like Optoelectronics Institute and etc. And also we have a 16-bit IBM before addresses, and also recently many researchers try to use cloud usage. It means data or important data is outside from this IP address area. Then, I don't know the situation in India and Japan is the same, but the Japan case, we have so many subdomains. It means FQDN. Like, for example, graduate school of information, they use ISEE or our department, information institute program, we use III to show you HTTP. Anyway, every staff or lab or school or department use independent domain. So this is a result of ASM. About 2,000 subdomain found from using Kyushu HTTP domain. It means I'm a top of security management. Then I must secure those so huge domain. And also we found many weakness like certificate about 200 and cyber issue about also 200 and email mis setting about 200, DNS is 100, and networking is 300, and software about 200, and website security is also 300. So many programs to outside internet from Kyushu University. So this is some Windows that AS tools. So this shows which domain is the most high risk, and also which kind of vulnerabilities exist inside Kyushu University. And also top high risk domain has many different vulnerabilities. Also many web certification problems. As you know, recent web service use cipher communication. So it needs certification information, but it takes some money, or management is very difficult, and some professional engineer need to do this management. But there are so many websites, but many websites have this certification issue in this university. Also, then this web certification issue causes cipher problem. So you use even you try to put HTTPS, but if certification is broken, the cipher communication is happen. Also, some web content is fake. So about this situation in labo, my labo in Cybersecurity Center, we are doing this kind of research. So as I said, so many huge information about cybersecurity issues using ASM. But every information is very important. Then we try to shrink the huge information without any losses. And also, there are many high-risk domains. So we must check and we try to correct those domains. But the priority is very important. Then one of the members tried to how to set priority about high-risk domain. So today, Tateyama-san has a poster session to explain how to calculate the priority to decide high-risk domain. Also, certification issues, and also this is very important. SPF is using email. This is sender policy framework. So this SPF is broken. We spawner cause the reason. Also, we must respond to high-level security management. For example, WAF web application firewall. I think it is better to use WAF, but cost problem or maintenance problem is difficult. Also, DNS over DLSL. ASM demand to use this high-level security management. But as I said, there are so many domains. We must good design to use this technology, considering the cost. So finally, about storing credentials, ID and password. In other case, not so many. But actually, in Kyushu University, unfortunately, sometimes we have this kind of issue. But ASM try to find the stolen credential in Kyushu University is desperate, and we try to handle those situations. So this is my conclusion today. Today, I introduce which kind of information we can get as a security management using Crude. And I show some research items based on this information. So the last program is my personal opinion. So as I said, ASM and penetration test is very similar, but a little bit different. Penetration testing and also current cybersecurity issue, there are many human cases, very many. So human-based penetration test, for example, in Japan, email door is very popular. But currently, email door has much cost, but not so effective. So we must find another good tool. Then, just one idea, human-based ASM means we get some information through human. Then, how to protect the organization to design is really important. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Okamura Sensei, especially for proposing the next part. Any of you have any questions, please. Thank you very much for the recommendation, Hyderabad. So I believe this cybersecurity and information security cannot stand just alone as our ASM. So there must be some underlying technologies or some, for example, zero trust or some good access control. And also in the case of universities, the balance between freedom and then limitation, so that we can somewhat survive, but with some compliance with security policies. So I think it is kind of very complex environment. And so but now in Kyushu University, so what kind of like our access control or like security policy are you enforcing to the user devices, or are you allowing some freedom to the students and faculty members to bring and connect whatever they bring to the university or information systems?
I think you mean private devices. Some student can bring one of your question.
Yes.
Actually, I think Kotaro-san usually in Japan, remember there are kind of computer room, and there are many terminals, and the students go to that room and they use computer provided university. But recently, Japanese situation has been changed. Most universities stopped that kind of service. Then after that, the university asks students bring your own computer.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's our current situation. Japanese company is quite different. They don't permit use the private devices. But in Japan case, student also or faculty or general staff, I don't know. But researcher bring their own devices and connect campus and use their own computer.
So in that case, I believe you're handling more increased difficulties than the standard industry will, because they can enforce something, because they can give a laptop computer with a pre-set security measures. But I think universities may not be able to do it for the personal devices brought by faculty members or staff or students. So in that case, how are you actually tackling with some loose security environment or awareness from the end users?
The most significant rule is please use latest software. For example, as you know, Windows version 10 is stopped. Then in now, we cannot Windows 10. Then, but we ask member, please don't use. But technically, we cannot stop they are not using. Or, yeah.
I see, but I think it's very effective to tell what is do's and don'ts, and then I think you are likely exploring the workaround in case it's not explosion. Thank you so much. Very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nakashi. And we do get a lot of emails from cybersecurity to Kyushu University, telling what to do and what to not. Yeah. So thank you for that too. We have time for one more quick question. Scott information.
Thank you very much for your presentation. In Japan, recently there have been some large cybersecurity attacks like Asahi Group and Asco Corporation, and it's taken them a long time to recover from this attack. I'd like to know your thoughts on planning and preparedness of Japanese companies in general for this cybersecurity attack.
Yeah. I think company and academic situation is different, I think. As you mentioned, Asahi's case, I think Russia's some killing group used ransomware to that company. But in my experience, those attacks never attack to academia because a company has much money. Then if they use ransomware, actually many company pays money. But university, academia, we don't have much money. Then even we affect ransomware, we never pay the money. Then they don't attack. That's our concept.
Thank you so much, Scott, for making it. Thank you so much, Akomura Sensei, for a wonderful presentation. Everybody has a small Next, I would like to invite Professor Katoma Kotaro from IIT Hyderabad, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, to present on integrating network state verification with knowledge graph-based digital twin for SDN.
Thank you very much. Today, actually, I was prepared for networks, not blockchain yet. But I can cover the blockchain topic in the poster session. And let me go forward. Network operation is something that I'm in charge of in this university. And so day by day, something goes wrong. And somebody notices it, and then our computer center network team has to fix them. And then, so we realized that it's very difficult to say our network is fine. It is fine only because nobody complains it, but actually something wrong may be going, but without being noticed. And also, like, for troubleshooting or to improve the performance of the network, we may change the network configuration. But it is very scary up here because one line of network configuration may destroy everything. So that is why we always want to make the network operation safe. But now it is a time that there are so many protocols and toolkits and architectures and also like applications, and then pretty much unpredictable behaviors. Not only about end users, but also like a gadget like an IoT. So in that case, how can we say that the network is still okay, or the new configuration is still okay? That means verifiably safe to do something to the network. So that is something we used to pursue. And but this is not a new topic because the safe network operation is our universal demand, long history. So we have something already. But now several existing works they are limited to a particular protocol or some particular use case, some phenomenon, or the approach may not be broadly applicable to many network architectures. So that is why we want to go for some other approach. And so this is a mixture of like the network, which is live, and operational, like our lab. But now, first we create our digital twin. That means digital representation of this network, like a database. And then, because we want to try something new, is still safe to execute. So in that case, we cannot directly apply it to the lab network. So that is why we create a replica of the lab network together with the digital twin. Now, to this replica of the digital twin and its SDN, we can do something nasty, including the new configuration and then some extra burden to see how the network goes wrong or still not. And that kind of result of this executing things are kept in the data structure called our network state, and especially the safe network state that we are interested in. And then we put it to some algorithm, we call it as network state validator, and then they give an answer. Yes, your network is, the new configuration is good to go, or don't do that. So that's what we used to work on. And the network state, this is not just about like a packet loss rate or latency or the link utilization, or in some cases, this network state may contain like the op cache or some state information in a routing table or the SDN open flow tables. So we have so many parameters. And then everything is done in a digital twin. And then out of those, we want to create some critical information. That is, if you close the bar, and then we will say that the network is now somewhat broken. So the safe network state is the limit. Beyond that, the network is not good. So, so for example, if you remember computer networks course, so the packet is forwarded again and again and again forever in a layer 2 or in a layer 3, but in a slightly different way. Or because, for example, in some telecom network or service function chaining, the computers may cause a lot of east-west traffic. It is not necessary if the functions are properly ordered, but if there is a misplacement, and then the network will unnecessarily become so busy. So that's kind of things. Being free from such kind of situation is basically okay. But otherwise, our network state verifier should flag a black one. Don't do that. So now, so we basically introduce the safe network state and its verifier, but it's a little bit. The one thing is that we use the concept of the knowledge graph. So when you create a digital twin, the fast access to the database is very important, and then also because digital twin is not just a database, it has to give some knowledge and then like an inference, what is going on, or what is wrong, or what is okay. So in that case, instead of Biomass, we use a database called a knowledge graph because it can reflect some ontology or some relationship between an object and its phenomenon. And then that makes it easy to query something ambiguous but quickly get an answer. So taking the advantage of this knowledge graph is the main reason why we use a digital twin. Because still, to generate some useful information to be verified. And then the biggest issue is that network keeps changing because it's running. Okay, so in that case, how can we be quick to extract the useful information in the form of the safe network state that can be verified? So that is one issue. So that is why we take a help of the knowledge graph. And actually this network state verification is a combination of the two papers. Number one is first to construct the digital twin of the live network, and then second, replicate the network in the digital twin and do something and then verify its consequence, and then say yes or no to the new configuration. So we have kind of large system. It is not that large, but it's kind of complicated system. And then, so in our lab, so we always stick to the working system. So that is something is working using some emulated network. And so we realized that, so, you know, what can be the safe network state? And that definition or the item that is listed in a safe network state may vary. But so far, we have identified the three things. First one is a loop cleanness. That means a packet doesn't go forever in a safe place. And second thing is the maximum RTT. Because if the RTT is far beyond the border, for example, like let's say 100 MSEC or 20 MSEC in the same LAN, definitely something going wrong. And also like a maximum leak utilization. That means beyond that, we will say that the network is already overflowing. So that kind of states we classified as a safe network state. And then of course, if you have a better idea, you can add or delete something new. And then, we kind of like describe what is actually to be verified and then when should it be verified. So whenever something new is applied to the network, or do you want to do it regularly? So that is actually configurable in our implementation. And so we call it as a template that can be used for the script to trigger the network state verification. So we have a POC, and then with the SDN controller called Ryu. I think it's a Japanese product actually. And then, but now we have to look at something new like in our ONOS so that they can have more fancier features. So, and then, we have Mininet for emerging network, and then knowledge graph. It is actually our NEO project. So we do some engineering to integrate these softwares and then construct one system. And so evaluation, actually this is very important, and this is connecting to the another step of the research. Basically, the size of the database, that means knowledge graph, will become large if the network becomes large. And then, but that is causing the delay. And then also, the nature of what kind of like a safe network state do you want to check? And then it's the choice of this information will also introduce a different magnitude of the latency. And so for example, loop cleanness check is taking the most time. And because that has to collect a lot of information and process a lot. So, but so far, we have not applied a very particular optimization technique for this network state verification. So, but that can be somewhat optimized or improved. And then also, because anyhow, we need it in the daily operations. That means the computation cost must not be too high. So that's why we check the CPU utilization, and then it looks okay. And but we don't know if, because the network that we have tested is much smaller than what we have in ITH. So that is why, you know, if we run the same system, and then the result will be much more harsh. So we still have to work on it. And so it works in a small setup, but we don't know yet still for the larger network. And then also, we have to create a replica of the network and then wait for some time until something wrong happens, or we don't find it yet. So we are kind of feeling that, why do we wait by running a network? So one of my students is working on, so the output that we are expecting is already known. That means what we want to extract from the digital twin. Can we replace that part with some AI so that AI gives what we want, but without running the real or replica network. So that's something that we are exploring right now. And no, I was not supposed to say this, so please, because it's still ongoing work, so please don't tell. Okay. And but pretty much what we do here is first are inspired and motivated by the day-by-day network engineering and operation problems. And I think it's a good opportunity. So if you are interested in networking research, also blockchain research, please talk to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singh, for an inspiring talk. In fact, Dr. Singh taking in Kyushu University teacher today. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. So we are open for questions. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free.
Thank you very much for the answer. You have more than 10 years experience in India, so what kind of differences between Japan and India in terms of blockchain or this topic, networking? I'm sorry, I'm not in this area, but I'm just curious.
Sure. So, for example, again, there is a sometimes fun, because when I was an art student in Japan, my professor used to tell me that you don't just do the research, you have to do the operation. And then you got to learn a lot from the network operation, and then use it for the research, and then put it back to the operation. So we used to do both. And then I heard that culture did not die in Japan yet. But I believe in India, it's more or less like the network infrastructure. It's something that somebody, they don't care, is operating and it's up and running. And then they can throw, and like a complaint, like Kotaro, go to hell. My network is slow. Because Kotaro is in charge, that is already a common fact. So that means, but I guess so, but now they, like Indian students, they don't have to be forced to fix the network problems. But they can bring a lot of innovative ideas. What can be done? Forget about the existing, like a travel or network issues, but that's what is fancy to be done for the future. So that's kind of like, I don't say like a rocket or science, but it's pretty much like innovative ideas, but don't much trapped by the ground level issues. So I think that's a good part. So that means practically, I've seen a lot of good complementarism between what is good at Japanese students for networking, and then also what is good for the Indian students. I think that's kind of like a very good match. And yeah, so they have a totally different mindset, but I think it's a good match. Yeah, thank you.
Myself, your doesn't say that anyone have time for one.
Yes, so initially, when I had asked my question to start by Sensei, I had mentioned that I had done a project in relating to AI security in my first year. So that I had a basic understanding of how to use knowledge graphs for that project as well. And I know you mentioned that you're not exactly supposed to mention the AI part you're exploring about your current research, but I had a similar conceptual implementation for my project. So what I basically did was I was implementing an AI reinforcement learning model to then build on the knowledge graph on its own, specifically with continuous reinforcement using either public data sets or ones that we configure on our own. So similar to that as well, I recently was fortunate enough to be able to pursue a 1-month internship at a company, Multicore Incorporated, where I was able to do a project internship on a module called RAY, which is for auto-scaling machine learning models and LLMs like that. So the principle behind that is mainly parallel computing, but I believe that if we were able to connect all three of these specific aspects and concepts, it could help further increase the way in which it is currently going.
Okay,
For
so
implementation.
I have, okay, so first, number one, let's discuss in this poster session. My student is presenting this poster, this topic in the poster, so let's discuss there. And number two, mixing multiple buzzwords may be wrong. Right, yes. So that's something that we have to be careful, because, for example, I try to mix 3 buzzwords: IoT, blockchain, and then SDN, software-defined networks. It's a disaster. Okay, so I mean, it is very tricky to put so many things in under one concept, because we eventually lose our idea which one is really contributing, but the other buzzwords are just a buzzword is not helping a lot. But if you have so many things, that means the pattern of the evaluation will go very exponential. And then that will make your research even more difficult unnecessarily. Okay, but again, this is something that we can discuss offline. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sensei. So, thank you so much. Give a big hand to Dr. Sensei, please. Next, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Anupam Gupta of IIT Hyderabad Department of Physics to present on mechanics of life, modeling how cells and tissues grow.
So, first of all, I would like to say that this work has been done. What you see in yellow, these are the guys who do modeling, and what you see in blue, these are the guys who do experiments. So basically, our aim is always to support whatever experimental observations are. Can we model them and can we do predictions? So that's what we are interested in. So mechanics. So here you can see 2 images. The image that you see in right, and that is nothing but a collection of cells from the mammary gland. You take that and you put them in a matrix in vitro, and you let them grow. And what you see that it is going to form a very nice spherical structure. Now what you do, you take the same cells, same tissue, you put them in a different matrix. Matrix means the environment where these cells are going to grow, the tissue is going to grow. You're not changing the biological or chemical properties of these cells and tissue. You're only changing the environment around it, the microenvironment. So in the right, we have elastic matrix. In the left-hand side, we have viscoelastic matrix. I will be describing it in few slides, what is the meaning of viscoelastic. So you can see that the growth is completely different. In one case, it is very nicely spherically symmetric. In another case, the tissue growth is more, and also it starts to form fingers. So you can see that how important mechanics becomes in terms of growth. So without changing any mechanical or biological property, the growth can be very different. And these branch structures are very important because we all know when cancer metastasis happens, in that case, fingers start to form. And in that case, it becomes relevant that how mechanics is going to play a role. Again, I would like to repeat that the cells and tissue are exactly same. So throughout the talk, what we are going to focus on that if you change the matrix or the environment around a cell or tissue, how it is going to affect the growth. So that's the question we would like to address. This is the theme of half of my lab work on this problem. Okay. Now, why mechanics matters for life? For example, you can see in the left-hand side, we have a growing plant. You can see from left to right, it's the time series how it is going to grow. You can see the roots are going inside the soil, right? And of course, when you grow, you need to push the material around it, then only you can grow. If you're not able to push, you will not be able to grow. Okay? So it becomes important that you should understand the mechanics, the environment around you. Second example is a very simple example, just to show that if you take a very simple sponge and if you put it in the water, it will start to grow. But if you make the environment around it stiff, it will not be able to do that. The third example is a growing chick embryo. So you take the egg that's not the egg that you heat, the fertilized egg. If you take and if you put a microscope, you can see this is how the chick embryo will start to grow in the first 3 to 4 days. So you can see there is a tail bud that is growing, and of course it is growing in an environment which is like thick and also elastic in nature. If you look at the egg yolk, you can see that how thick it is. So again, when it is growing, it needs to push the material around it, and then only it can. So again, it becomes very important that how you are pushing the material. Do you have enough force to push? And for both that becomes an important question. So cells usually grow in a matrix, they need to push, they deform, failures around it and accordingly. Now the other question that I have mentioned in the first slide, viscoelasticity. So we all know what is elastic rubber. We have seen these are elastic materials. And then on the right hand side, we have example of fluidic system, that is viscous honey. But if you think about any biological system, and to tell you the truth, in nature, most of the systems are neither elastic solid, perfect elastic solid, nor perfect. They are somewhere in between. They are viscoelastic in nature. Similarly, in our body, whatever material that we have are viscoelastic in nature. They are neither neutrally fluid, nor they are perfectly elastic solid. Okay. So, so also it depends at what time scales you are doing the observation. So when you have like viscoelasticity is there, at small times you are going to behave like an elastic, whereas at long times you are going to behave like a fluid. So, but in biological process, when our body grows, these are the time scales where it tries to exploit both the information. Okay? It will be at the time scale where it will wait long enough so that it just crosses the elastic limit and then it starts to push the fluid, because it is important that there should be some resistance as well. Okay. Now, just to give you an idea how one should look at cells, very simple cells, so you can see these balloons. If you think about cells in a very simplistic picture, we can say that the cells are nothing like balloons, and they are growing in a network, soft network. You can see that these balloons are growing in a net, right, in a soft net. So that's how even in our body things grow. So if you start putting air in the balloons, they will grow. But of course, since they are surrounded by a matrix, in this case, this net, they will not be able to grow beyond certain value. If they need to grow, they need to push the net so that they can grow. The same thing happens in our body. So basically, they grow by exerting forces. The matrix around the cell, they are going to resist. And similarly, now if you think about growth, it becomes a force balance force. That's how we are going to take mechanics into account. What we will be doing throughout when not listening too much time, but we'll just try to convey the message that when we are going to model, we'll be taking biology and chemistry as it is, and we'll be mainly playing with the mechanics. And then we can say that how important mechanics becomes, because you will see that different patterns emerge, different kind of structures. Okay. Similarly, organoid and spheroid. I'm pretty sure majority of you might not be knowing an organoid. An organoid is nothing but you take an organ and if you grow it in vitro I mean outside the body, and when you look at that tissue, it is going to mimic, in terms of morphology, it is going to be exactly like the tissue inside your body. Okay? And it is not only in terms of morphology, even in terms of biological principles, the cell type itself are going to mimic the actual organ. So in that way, it becomes very important, and because you can understand, you can focus on how the development process takes place. On top of that, you can go for personalized medicine, because when you think about medicine, it is important that you need to take into account the your morphology of the organ. On top of that, you need to take into account the biological processes such as like what kind of cells these are and where are they located. So in that way, organoids become important. Now, moving on to the question, why do we need models? So okay, I did not explain the video. Let me just spend 1 minute there. So this video is the intestinal organ which is growing in vitro. So that you can see very nicely how the image is coming from. If you look at the image to begin with, it starts from a single cell. It's a single stem cell. It starts to divide and then it starts to form a structure. You can see that the structure here is a hollow structure. This is a cross section of this structure. So it is not like a spherical ball. So it is maintaining a structure. It is trying to mimic the intestine, the small intestine that we have in our body. You can also see that it starts to form fingers like what we have in our intestine. So inside our intestine, there are these finger kind of structures, crypt and belly kind of structures. So in terms of morphology, also in terms of cell type, it is going to mimic the exactly same. So you can see that the process is very complex. There are different kind of cells, there are inserted different kind of forces. Okay, so why do we model? Because of course there are too many cells, too many processes. We cannot write down very simple equations to understand it. And also since there are too many processes and too many cells happening, you cannot be exact. You have to use some approximation. What you need to do, you need to take into account the important processes which are actually going to determine how the growth is going to be. Okay? So you take that into account. You look at how the forces are going to get distributed by the way, or whenever you do model, what you do, first thing you do, you do the observation, and based on observation, you try to mimic what kind of forces are going to be there. If there is a cell which is motile in nature, by motile in nature, the cells can crawl around. Okay, so when they crawl around, what is the degree of that activity? Similarly, how the feedback mechanism is going to be. So basically, as I said, if a cell or tissue is going to grow, it needs to push the matrix. When it is pushing the matrix, then there is going to be a feedback reaction, right? Because matrix will try to push back. In that way, it is going to affect the growth. So, of course, in model, you can take all these things into account and then you try to build them. Okay? And just to give you an idea, in this image, this is again a intestinal organoid in vitro. It has been developed. In the center, the spherical structure, the blue cells are nothing but a enterocyte kind of cells, different kind of cells. The gray color pictures are stem cells, and the red color are different cells. So you can see that 3 different kinds of cells are already there, and this is a very simplified view. Okay. Now there could be many other kinds of cells, but for modeling, as I said, you need to focus on the relevant information. In this case, the relevant information. Now, how do we model them? You treat the tissue as growing soft material. Here you can see this is an image. You can see that all these small balls are representing the cell. They are here. This is a very simplistic setup. You have only steric repulsion. They are, this means you can write down an overdam Landau equation for that, and that's what you develop. Then the matrix is again you have to take into account like a small piece, and then you need to bring in elasticity, viscosity. There are ways to do that. We have done that, and in that way, you can take your matrix viscoelastic, which is passive in nature. If you can core tissue, it has to be active, which means it should be able to crawl around. Also, it should be able to grow. The tissue is growing. Whereas, so there is a major difference between the matrix and tissue. Tissues are active, they are growing. Whereas the matrix around it, it is passive in nature, and of course, it cannot grow. Okay? So once you take all this information, the first thing you do, you solve the equation, you try to compare again. So on top, we have experimental observations where you have an elastic, stiff extracellular matrix. You can see in the top, in the left-hand side, you have experiments and simulations. They are together, they are maintaining a spherical structure. When you look at the right-hand image, it's a viscoelastic matrix, extracellular matrix. In that case, it starts to form branch structure. So these are simulation results. Now, so far so good, we are able to match experiments. What can we do? Can we do some predictions? So of course, you can control your parameters. Good thing is that in biological systems as well, you can tune these parameters using different kind of drugs. And in asymptotic limits, your models can be tested against these observations. So what you have a good, nice space, and you can do all sort of comparison. I will not be going into detail. The boundary here shows that whether you are going to have, the green boundary tells you whether you are going to have a spherical symmetric or asymmetric or branch structure. Okay? So it does not stop here. What you can do, you can also design matrix where you can bring in some artificial, porosity and other aspects. And in that way, what you can do, so these are like when you bring in porosity. So you take matrix, you inject some bubbles into that. In that way, you will be changing the stress relaxation type of the system, and you will be maintaining the mechanical strength. So this becomes important because this will help you to engineer issues for the way you want. Okay, so it will give you very nice control. So it is an artificial way of designing matrix, but of course in vivo it will not happen. But in vitro you can design the audio the way you want. So again here there's a comparison between experiments and simulation, and there's so far so good. Now again what you can do, you have model, you can try to explore full parameter space, and you can see what is the degree of flexibility. The color bar here tells you that what is the degree of flexibility. So there are different parameters that are not you going into these details. But what I'm trying to say that if you use your right model, you will be able to do predict experiments and can help these experiments. Okay. Similarly, these are models that have been developed for Optoelectronics. On the top, what you see are experimental images. In the bottom, what you have the images from the simulations. Of course, all these balls are representing the cells. They're connected by strings. Similarly, on the top also you can see these blue, red, and gray structures. Those are structures. So you can see different kind of structures come into picture in simulations. Not exactly, but very close to what experimental observations you have. You will be able to get. Now again, what you can do a full parameter scan. When in experiments you can do that, the asymptotic limit. But the challenge is that how to get the boundary, the stable versus unstable boundary. Okay? So this is where in biology it becomes challenging. Becomes very expensive to perform these experiments, whereas if you can develop a model which is able to capture these biological observations, then you will be able to explore these. In the same way, you can also look at embryogenesis, somatogenesis. Embryogenesis is an important field because there are I'm not talking about that. So what I'm trying to say here that you can do so in the left hand side you have embryo explanting, embryo explant, and you can see with time how they are responding. On the right hand side, in this left panel only, you can see these are the images from the simulation. These are different kind of models. Similarly, another aspect is somatogenesis. Somatogenesis, if you don't know, the ribs that we have, the early stages of these ribs are nothing but somites. So in the beginning, they form segmented tissue, which is an important aspect because it is not easy to get segmented structures. So for whatever we have seen, they are always connected, but here you have segmented. So again, models can be done and can be developed. Now, currently our lab has been focusing on how to look at complex single cell growth. These are astrocytes. Astrocytes are important because if you think about any few neurons, how they are connected in between space, they are always connected by these astrocytes. You can see that the structures are not spherical in nature. Like in the beginning, I said that you can consider yourself like a balloon. That is not true. Right? Okay. They have these different fingers. The shape is pretty complicated. Now, in this simulation, what we are trying to do here, we are trying to. Okay. Sorry, this was a video. Yeah. So basically, there are certain chemical processes that come into picture. Using that, you bring in mechanical information. You will be able to capture these things. So this is still a work in progress. The experimental data that we're getting is from David Moody lab, and of course they have been helping us a lot in understanding these systems. So in that, I would like to summarize. So models can be utilized to understand any kind of complex single cell growth. You can define the matrix of your choice, whatever you want to do, and then of course you can help the experiments to do a full parameter scan, and also it can be predictive in nature. You can design complex tissues, for example, organoids, which are not straightforward. By the way, the organoid one that we have developed, it is first of its kind. Okay. Then, as I said, for all the examples, what you can do, you have huge parameter space. What you can do in these simulations, you can scan them, and then you can try to find the sweet parameter that is relevant for for any relevant object. Okay. And again, when the story growth is direct between biology and mathematics. It's not only biology and chemistry, science is an important. With that, I would like to thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Gupta. So, session is open for questions. That is,
Thank you for wonderful presentation. And the last slide is really most encouraging growth in the dialogue between biology and mechanics. So do take the environmental as a factor because what you talk is more about in vitro, right?
Right.
So when you translate the same thing for actual mammalians or human minds, so how do you take environment into factor for this?
So what you can, there are ways to measure the mechanical properties. So there are the mechanical properties that are relevant for us are, we know that these are viscoelastic in nature. One can do some stress relaxation experiments even for the even for the body. Like the way we measure the stiffness of the breast, right? So there are many ways in which you can. So once you can measure, so of course you cannot do micro measurement, but at macro scale you can do measurement. So once you have that information, we should be able to do these. So if you can do it in vitro, of course it can be extended to vivo. And this plays an important role because, as you know that, the first detection of the breast cancer is by looking at the stiffness. You touch it, you see that it is stiff, and you say, yeah, there are chances that there might be breast cancer. So, means if you can measure those things, you are good to go. There are many sophisticated ways in which you can measure the mechanical property, and that's where we come into picture. If we have that information, we can put those information in our model and we should do.
So this model can be fit into any disease,
yes,
because you are talking about mostly with the cancer cells, so anything will.
Right. So I did not go into details, but there are parameters which one can control. For example, we know that cancer cells are soft in nature, the extracellular matrix around it is stiff. So those information can be put in here. Also, the cancer cells are more motile in nature, so that also. So of course, all those information that which are relevant, we can put and then we can try.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. With that, I would like to conclude the session. Thank you so much for wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Next, for the final presentation of this session. Next, for the final presentation of this session, I would like to invite Dr. Scott Rowan of Kyushu University Open Innovation Platform, who will give an overview of the Open Innovation Platform and startup co-creation at Kyushu University. Scott,
Okay, so good afternoon. My name is Scott Rowan. I work for the Kyushu University Open Innovation Platform, or Kyushu University OIP, and I'd like to give a brief introduction to our activities in regards to innovation and startup co-creation at Kyushu University this afternoon. A little bit about myself. I'm originally an aerospace engineer by training. I completed my PhD in Australia, and then moved to Japan to work in aerospace research for a few years, and then worked in engineering consulting for a number of years after that, and then most recently I've been working in a Japanese space startup, and from about 1 year ago at Kyushu University OIP as a startup coordinator. So Kyushu University OIP is a wholly owned subsidiary of Kyushu University, and originally its functions were internal to the university. It was a department within the university. But then about 18 months ago, the university made a decision to establish OIP as a independent company to allow it to, I guess, be more flexible and respond more proactively to the needs of the researchers of the universities. And so our overall mission is to support collaboration between industry, academia and government, and contribute to the improvement of university education and research overall. So Kyushu University OIP is made up of three main teams. The first one is the issue-driven team, which is focused on improving the environment for collaborative research. So this team works mainly with industry. So industry comes to your university with a problem that you're interested in solving, and this team will help that industry to find a collaboration between the university themselves to work towards a solution for that problem. The second team is the science-driven team, which I'm a part of. And the science-driven team is focused on supporting the university's researchers. So it's looking to help them implement their research either via creating a startup or by developing a strategy to protect their intellectual property and potentially commercialize that intellectual property. And then the last team is something called the vision-driven team, and this is the newest team within the company. And the vision-driven team is really looking at the overall picture for innovation and startup creation around Kyushu University, and looking to commercialize the assets of the university in various different ways. So, for example, that can include, if a company comes to the university with a problem they'd like to solve, but they don't necessarily want to create a company themselves or form a joint venture themselves with the university, then the vision-driven team may actually look to establish that company within OIP to help industry and the university realise the potential of any IP that they may have. So within the science-driven team, here's a brief overview of how we support university startups. So often, Kyushu University researchers will come to us with the outcome of their research and seeking advice on how to potentially commercialise that research. And so we offer two main things. One, intellectual property management and commercialisation. So helping them to identify within the results of their research those parts that can be protected via a patent or something like that. And also developing a strategy and a business development plan around that IP. Secondly, we can also help them to establish a startup if they're interested in doing so, and we can do that by providing funding for them to develop their research through to the proof of concept stage. And we also offer various other services as well, such as team matching and acceleration and mentoring programs, which I'll talk a bit about more in the later slides. And then what we're trying to do overall is really create a continuous ecosystem where commercializing the research results of the university and creating startups then generates results and financial outcomes for both the university and the broader community as well. So one of the main ways we do this at Kyushu University OIP is through a program called PARKS, which stands for the Platform for All Regions of Kyushu and Okinawa for Startup Ecosystem. So this program is actually funded by the Japan Science and Technology Agency, which is part of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan. And it's one of 9 programs like this across Japan that cover the entirety of the country. And this one obviously is focused on universities based in Kyushu and Okinawa, and also in Yamaguchi Prefecture, which is at the very southern tip of the main island of Japan. So it's a 5-year program, and it's led by Kyushu University and the Kyushu Institute of Technology, and it works to provide gap funding to researchers and also graduate students who are interested in creating startups based on their research. So it works a bit like this. There are 2 main steps. The first step is really about conducting applied research and developing a business plan and testing a business plan based on that research. And that's a 1-year program. And each year, about 40 researchers are selected for that first step from the universities that are participating. And also up to 10 student projects can be selected as well. And in this case, usually Kyushu University has been reasonably successful, and about half of the projects that are selected typically come from Kyushu University. Then after step one, they can apply for, so step two is split into two phases. So the first step is a proof of concept phase, and that is 1.5 years long. And so during this phase, they're really trying to develop the proof of concept and demonstrate the feasibility of the research and business plan that they've come up with. And as you can see, in this step, only 12 projects are selected each year, so it becomes quite a bit more competitive. And for student projects, up to 5 projects can be selected. And then finally, in step 2-2, which is another 1.5 years. So the total program is up to 4 years in length. The researchers are looking to establish the management team around the startup and look to launch a business based on their research outcomes. So under this program, researchers can access up to 65 million yen in funding over the 4 years, and student projects can access up to 4 million yen. So the amount of funding is quite different, but that's based on, I guess, the level of maturity of the research seeds that are involved. So there's also a similar program called QUIC, which is focused on healthcare startups. And so this works in a similar way to the PATH program. Once again, led by Kyushu University, and it involves a network of universities across Western Japan. Once again, looking to create startups based around research seeds, specifically in the life sciences and biotech and medical technology sectors. So I'll just talk about a couple of the particular programs that we offer under PARCS. One thing that we have at Kyushu IOP is we have a number of entrepreneurs in residence that are employed by IOP. And so what they do is look at the research seeds that have been generated by the university and try to identify those that have the most potential and have, I guess, the best alignment with their backgrounds and experience as well. And what those entrepreneurs actually then do is they will join those teams and help them to both apply for the PARCS program funding, but also then progress their idea towards the business phase, and in the end state they may also join that business as a part of the team that takes that startup forward. Another thing that we also offer is something called the CXO Bank. And so a CXO is a candidate for any of those sort of chief officer positions, so chief technology officer or chief executive officer, any of those senior management positions. So this program actually started at Kyushu University, but then is now run by the Fukuoka prefecture government. And through this program, what we look to do is match the research seeds with suitable management candidates for their business. And so as you can see, those candidates don't just come from the Kyushu area, they come from all across Japan, and the age range and the background is also quite diverse. I'll say in terms of gender diversity, there's still a way to go, but we have been successful in attracting a number of female candidates for these roles as well. And then finally, sometimes we find that the projects that we are supporting, the funding available under the PARCS program is not quite enough to progress their project to the POC stage. So recently, we started something called the Innovation Challenge Fund. Which offers supplementary funding to help them progress to the final POC stage. So to sum up, here's just a few examples of Kyushu University startups based on the university's research technologies. You can see a number there in the pharmaceuticals and biotech fields. In the last 20 years or so, the university has created about 145 startups. Compared to I guess India, we're not quite up there in terms of the volume, but a number of these companies have been able to successfully progress to the IPO phase, including a couple in the pharmaceuticals area, and also one in IT and networking, and one in the space sector. So that concludes my talk, so thanks very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Scott Sensei. So, from the audience, we have an accommodated questions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Scott. For example, if IIT Hyderabad and Kyushu University had a collaborative research and developed one commercial product or any intellectual properties patent. So in that case, the intellectual property rights goes to both, or is it possible to dual property rights? Is there any cases like this?
I'm probably not the right person to answer that question. I think I'm not aware of any cases like that. Usually the projects we deal with intellectual property rights are owned by the university with the principal researcher as the inventor. I think it is possible to negotiate some sort of joint ownership. It would just take a bit more time and effort to come up with an agreement. For the funding under the PASS program, the principal researcher has to be an employee or student of Kyushu University, but you could have a researcher at IIT or a graduate student at IIT as the cooperating team member for that type of project, so that is no problem. But in regards to the ownership of the IP, I would need to consult with our IP management team on whether there have been any examples of that type of arrangement.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Good afternoon, sir. Myself, Shankar Kumar from Tamil Nadu. My question is, at what stage students should approach OIP when they only have an idea or after some results?
Students can approach OIP at any stage. We are happy to provide advice at any time. The university also has entrepreneurship center, which is separate to OIP, that is focused on entrepreneurship education. So they also provide training and advice to students as well, and also some small seed funding. So depending on what stage your idea is, you may you have the option of going to the entrepreneurship center to get some small seed funding to develop the idea further. Before you come to OIP and apply for something like the PASS program to access the larger amount of funding. So, but OIP, we talk to students who are referred to us from the Entrepreneurship Centre quite often, so we're more than happy to talk to students anytime.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, thank you so much for Sensei for a wonderful introduction of YIB and the Sparks project. So, now the session will break for tea as well as poster session. May I request everyone to kindly return by 4:55 p.m. to receive session 2. So, tea is arranged outside. There are posters displayed outside too. So, please.
Now the organic material is quite promising for the semiconductor materials and optoelectronic devices. So we have been working organic electronics in Kyushu University for a long time, and the key issue is actually charge transfer between donor and acceptors. You know the organic materials, some show the electron accepting, some show the electron donating natures. So the very fine controlling of donor-acceptor interaction is the key to extract the unique functions. You know the organic solar cell, OSC, this is composed of the electron transport and hole transport layers. Electron transport layer is composed of acceptors, hole transport layer is composed of the donors. And at the interface of donor and acceptors, we can efficiently harvest light and separate charge carriers. So N and P type interaction is quite important. So our most cutting edge technologies are actually TADF. TADF stands for thermally activated fluorescence that can convert nearly 100% electron into photon, very efficient light emitting materials. Okay, let's start for the OLED architectures. OLED is made of a very thin film, just 100 nanometer. You can believe, extremely thin film. You have many cell phones. If you have a chance, please try to break your cell phone. You will find a very thin film. And then in the event of hole and electronic combination, we have a 25% singlet and 75% triplet exciton's. So because of this spin branching ratio, as far as we use the singlet, internal efficiency is limited to 25%. But if we use the phosphor to T1 states, we can directly harvest 75 and also 25 indirectly. So the phosphorescence is a key to get high efficiency. But to have a phosphorescence emission, we have to use the precious metals such as platinum, iridium. So we don't want to use this kind of metals because of the precious metal, it costs very much. Okay, 2012, we succeeded a kind of third generation light emitting material. That is TADF. So here you will see chemical structures. So post-Z IPM. If you are a chemist, you can easily understand this structure is very simple, composed of the electron donating carbazole and the dicyanobenzene central unit. It's a donor acceptor combinations. So this molecule, actually S1, T1 energy gap is extremely small. We can make less than 100 milli-electron volt. And in this case, we can up-convert triplet into singlet, and we can get the emission as the delayed fluorescence. This is the TADF technologies. This was created in Kyushu University, 2012. Okay, now we can categorize the light emitting materials. Previously, we have only two emitters, fluorescence or phosphorescence. OLED started with using a fluorescence long time, 40 years. And then phosphorescence appeared 1990 or around 2000. But as I said, we have to use the platinum or iridium complexes. And third generation emitters, it's a purely aromatic compound. This can realize 100% electron into photon. Very efficient energy conversion by using simple aromatic compound. But honestly speaking, TDF has a shortage of the spectral width. For IPA, the spectral width is 100 nanometer, very broad spectral width. So the display always requires very narrow spectral width. So we decided to transfer the energy from TADF to terminal emitters by putting two material into host. So we generate extonic states by the TADF, and we transfer all energy to the terminal emitter. In this case, Dabna. Dabna molecule show the luminescence, and we can take advantage of the very narrow spectral width. We can realize high efficiency and narrow spectral width. Okay, and then 2014, we reported the very ideal TADF-based OLED. EQ is 25%, spectral width 30 nanometer. Lifetime is around 580 hours. Very stable light emitting device we could realize. I hope this technology will be commercialized or widespread in a commercial product. Okay, so today I also want to talk about LPL. LPL stands for long persistent luminescence. Maybe it's quite interesting. It shows very long luminescence lifetime. Actually, it extended to 5 hours or 10 hours continuously luminescence. Okay, so let's start from a very simple. Okay, this is the S-ratio and light emitting materials, and we dispersed the luminescent dye in actually steroid materials. So steroid has a very strong CH pi interaction with the hydrogen bonding. It provides a very rigid environment, and that provides even at room temperature phosphorescence. Even when we turn off the UV light, you can see continuous luminescence. It's a room temperature, this yellow color is a room temperature phosphorescence. Okay, another example, we succeeded to get the long persistent luminescence using a combination of MOF. You know, the MOF is the last year, the Nobel Prize. Professor Yagi and Professor Kitagawa, in Japanese professor, they got a Nobel Prize, the MOF technologies. MOF is a kind of jungle gene, and then we combined with the MOF with the coronet dye. MOF has a space, and the coronet will fill the space, and coronet dye is captured by MOF, and the MOF provides a very rigid environment. In this case, we could see long persistent luminescence. Okay, this is under UV irradiation. UV, it turned off, and then you will see only yellow emission. This is the phosphorescence. We could see room temperature phosphorescence. Okay, this is not a 77K, it's a room temperature. Even in a room temperature, we could see a very strong phosphorescence because of the suppression of non-radiative decays. Okay, but as far as we use the phosphorescence, the lifetime is limited to controlled by phosphorescence lifetime. The longest phosphorescence lifetime is just 20 seconds. We cannot get a longer lifetime. Okay, so instead of the MOF technology and steroid technologies, we came to the idea that is actually X-Specs. Ryota Kabe, he's now in OIST, and actually he demonstrated very fastly this idea. So he combined TMB, tetramethyl benzene, 1%, and the PPT. This is the acceptor. So donor acceptor combinations, and PPT is the host, and TBM is the guest, just 1%. And then, okay, we melt it on top of the hot plate. Actually, this is the world cheapest experiment, I think. Just made it. And then, surprisingly, it showed a very long persistent luminescence. So here you will see 1 second, 10 seconds, 30, and now this video shows that 20 second. Even in the 20 second, you will see emissions. And actually, it's continued 5 hours, even 10 hours. Of course, we cannot see by our naked eye, but detector, photomultiplier detected the film showed the luminescence. It's continued 10 hours. It's amazing. So, so mechanism is not so complicated. So this is the donor acceptor interactions. So we have X-plex formations. X-plex decay to the ground stage with the emission of the X-plex emission. This is a normal process, but in this system, X-plex started to separate hole and electrons like this, and then separated hole electron sometimes recombine again, showing the luminescence. So then, if we can well control the charge separated states, it's a kind of energy storage. And also, we suppose this technology is useful for the traffic signage or something. Okay, the headlight hits this film, and then it continues to emission for the long time. Actually, this is the behavior of the long persistent luminescence emission intensity against the time. So, this is the one more, red line is the 1 more %, it shows the strongest emissions, and it continues almost 10,000 times. It's continuing a few hours. Very, very long persistent luminescence we could obtain. This is the temperature dependence. Lower the temperature, we see more stronger emission because trap charge carrier can come back to the expected states, and non-native decay is very suppressed. Okay, so overall, we can say, this is a very long lifetime of organic materials. So fluorescence decay around the nanosecond order, and TADL decay around the microsecond order, and long life LPL, long persistent luminescence, continue extremely long lifetime, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Okay, so now, here is lots of chemical structures, and then some of the fluorescence shows very short lifetime, nanosecond order. TADF is microsecond, and phosphorescence is microsecond to millisecond order. Some show a few seconds, and long persistent luminescence. This is another technology using X-plex. We can get the extremely long luminescence, and this technology will be a future we want to use for the storage of the charge carrier in the film, and then it's a kind of energy storage as the hole and electron, and sometimes forced to recombine and get the emission. Okay, and the future, I just want to talk about our future technologies. So our fundamental technology is the OLED, organic light emitting diode, and also recently we demonstrated organic lasers. And then our future, we are very much interested in quantum-based devices like CT qubit or ambient electronics, which can be used even in an implanted device. I mean water environment or something. Even usually organic material is very weak for the water and oxygen, but by controlling the energy levels and supermolecular structures, we use water and oxygen resistive devices. Okay, and then future, we want to make a kind of a smart contact lens made of organics. This is one of our dream. Okay, and Kyushu University, so Opera Research Center located in east side of, it's close to the hydrogen energy centers. we are integrating organic synthesis and device fabrication. We have a clean room and lots of analytical equipment such as ultra fast spectroscopy or lipase or UPS and so on. So we can integrate it all starting from synthesis and also device physics. Okay, and if you have a chance to come to Fukuoka, we are very much happy to collaborate. We are now collaborating with Professor Shibakuma, and we really enjoy the collaboration with him. And yes, you have a chance, please come to Fukuoka. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Session is open for questions. So if anyone has any questions to ask, please feel free to.
Hi sir, very nice talk. I have just one question that you mentioned some afterglow of some material, of an organic material. So what are the possible reasons for this afterglow in that organic materials?
Resistant luminescence. Long resistant luminescence.
Long persistent luminescence.
LPL. In MOP combination, you got LPL, right?
Yes.
That's what he's asking. What is the reason?
What's the?
So what is the reason for that long glow, like afterglow? What is the reason for that persistent luminescence?
These delayed emission.
Light emission.
Yes,
intensity.
Yes.
Honestly speaking, and actually express in our system it's not so high efficiency, 5% or less than 10%, and then so we try to suppress non-native decay, but it's compete with the non-native decay. So actually, honestly speaking, we have to make a completely dark, and then we could recognize that non-persistent luminescence. But this is a kind of film. So if we make bulk, like a thick film, 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters, something, I think we can get the more strong emissions. But from fundamental aspect, so everybody suppose they expect the PLQS quite low, but recently we found even the express showed a close to 100% PLQI. So still we have a chance to get the very efficient long persistent luminescence. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Raji Sensei. So I have one question. So is there any way to control the persistent luminescence or controlled emission of light from the material?
Yes, that is also quite important. So this is now, we have no intentional control of the lifetime. It's actually we expect separated charge carrier has been trapped at a certain defects or something. So we should intentionally control the defect depth. So maybe we can put another trapping states, and then if we have a deeper controlling, so that we can get a longer lifetime. But as I said, we really want to use this technology for the storage of the energy. So then put in something, stimulation, and then we can get the emission something. But also, we want to use this technology for the traffic signage or something.
Sure.
Yeah, Sensei, thank you very much to enlightening us about this luminescence. See, I am a biologist, I don't have much idea about this, but I am taking one part. You used one steroids, estradiol. Yes. So what way estradiol is connected with the luminescence actually?
No. Sorry, maybe my explanation was not so good. Estradiol is a kind of host materials. So emitter molecule is covered with estradiol. Estradiol has a very strong molecule-molecule interaction because of the not only hydrogen bonding but the CH5 interactions. So good for the suppressing the non-radiative decay. We found the estradiol is very, very good to suppress non-radiative decay.
So it is like, steroids have three different androgen, progesterone, and estradiol. My curiosity was why estradiol only, not androgens and progesterone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quite interesting biomaterials.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
One more question from Professor Pankaj, please.
Thank you for nice presentation. I have just small question that have you considered to have atomic layer processing for the one biomolecule and atomic layer processing on the another that layer, so that we have like in a semiconductor processing we can have a very thin atomic layer processing of the materials. In a similar way in organic light, can we do that, or have you anyone done that?
Oh, you mean atomic layer control?
Yeah, atomic layer control of precursors and materials. So one by one film. So
yes, maybe it's a good suggestion because just top of the substrate, there's a special interaction between the organic molecule and the substrate. If we have CH pi or similar interactions, we can suppress non-radiative decay even in the monolayer.
Yeah, monolayer. So, anyone tried or not tried?
Yes, it's a good question. I look at the single layer behavior. It's good. Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, one more Q question.
Actually, we are using organic based materials. Why can't we use biodegradable polymers?
Biodegradable polymers.
Then we can reduce the wastage now.
If the polymer, we also try many various kind of polymers, and for example PMMA. So that's provide CO carbonyl interactions. That's provide also rigid environment. So if we don't care biodegradable polymer or something, but if polymer provide a very rigid molecular environment, so we can use for the long persistent luminescence.
Thank you.
Much, Raji Sensei, for a wonderful presentation and Q&A. Thank you so much. Big hand for Raji Sensei, please. Next, I welcome Associate Professor Shivakumar Vaidyanathan, Department of Chemistry, IIT Hyderabad, to present on molecular design synthesis of optoelectronic materials for LED applications.
Very good evening. I must thank the Japan desk and QC University for arranging this wonderful interaction, and also thank Professor Adachi and Dr. Iwachi to travel all over from QC University to come here. So today we are going to talk about optoelectronic materials design and synthesis for light emitting diode applications. So as Professor Adachi Sensei was talking about the front side, you break it and then see this. So I'm more interested about also this LED light in the back side, how this color is converted into, this comes out. So it is basically a conversion of light, down conversion. Blue light is converted into white light. So this blue light, how it is converted into white light? It's a kind of, white light is kind of mixing of RBG, primary color. So you have a blue color, then you make it with a yellow phosphor, that is a ceramic phosphor, then you convert them white light. However, the white light that you are generating is not really mimicking the sunlight that you are having in the outside. So what is the measure of having the sunlight? It's a color rendering index. Suppose if we say the object that you are seeing under the sunlight, if it shows the same object if you see under the light that is in indoor lighting. So if the object is producing 100%, if you keep it that color there, then if you have something just LED light shows 70 to 80% of CRI value.
And also this output, lumens output also very much important. For example, if you take tungsten lamp, it produces only 8 to 10 lumens per watt. If I give 1 watt, you will get 8 lumens. But when you use really LED lighting, the lumens output goes around 80 to 90 lumens per watt. So that's a really quite high value. One can really save the electricity that you are using for general lighting. And in addition to that, if you see this tube light, like compact fluorescent lamp or cold cathode fluorescent lamp, where you use mercury as the excitation source. Once it gets fused, then it will also be damage the environment. So in case of LED, such type of environmental hazards are not there. So, but the CRI value that we are getting, so when you mix this yellow with a little bit tinge of red color, then only the CRI value is increasing and the lumens output is increasing. For example, if you see the human eye sensitivity curve, so it very maximum in the green color. It's very shallow in the other side. It's very valid to the orange and red region. So there only you will see your red light. So that comes out. If you have a sharp light like a laser, atomic light emission, then only your eye can be able to catch that. In order to produce eye lumens output, also you should have a narrow band emission. So this was also talking about the broadband emission should be narrowed down. So what is the importance of narrow down? Because if I see the red color lamp which has blurry light, and then I put a laser light, so you will be able to detect the color point that is comes out from laser is very good compared to your. So that is a color matrix that has been given with based on your human eye sensitivity, the International Commission for Illumination. So in this our laboratory, we work on materials. You can have ceramic materials that which has narrow band emissions and shows in the red color. And also we need to have the thermal quenching should be there. For example, if you use this pass for 100 degrees C, the lumens output you are getting in the room temperature should be similar to that. So similarly, we are also working on alternative to the ceramic phosphor with a single component white light emission. For example, as I already mentioned that the blue LED coated with your yellow and red phosphor. So if we have a material that has only broadband emission like a kind of sunlight emission, starting from 400 visible photon 400 to 650 nanometer, then you can cover all the spectrum of your white light emission. So that's the one thing that we are using. And in addition, you can need to press long. Long press. Move this, right? Okay, thank you. So now you can see that since you have a two-component system, one is emission comes from one component, other one is coming from one component. If you vary the temperature, okay, so you can able to see the color point variation. So it can be used as a non-contact thermometer. For example, if I wanted to measure the temperature, you need to use the thermometer which is supposed to be touched on that. So if you have a situation such a way that if you can put and with observation that without seeing the monitor, you can see that color change with the monitor, then that can be used as a non-contact thermometer. And also you can use this as if you expose this compound in the acid environment, it goes as green color. But when you again expose to the base environment, it goes the red color. So this can be used as an acid-base sensing application. In addition to that, we are also working on traditional fluorescence and TADF materials, which is based on hybridized localized charge transfer with a hot exciton, TADF, and it's a cold exciton TADF materials. So we work on lanthanide emission. The lanthanide emissions are very sharp because we know that the electrons, 4 of electrons are well penetrated inside the atom, so it's not exposed to the ligand environment. So basically when you're talking about the ligand interaction, the emission band will become broad because of the interaction between the ligand. But in case here, lanthanide shows very sharp band because of, it's not exposed to the environment because S orbital, P orbitals are outside. And we can also get, based on the, lanthanides, one can able to find down the emission from 400 to 2500 nanometer. So when you particularly use samarium, you get orange red emission, europium red emission, terbium green, dysprosium white or yellow, neodymium, promethium, erbium, ytterbium can be used as for the near infrared region. So these can be very much well used for telecommunication and anti-counterfeiting and also NIR sensing applications. So as I mentioned that single component white light emission, if you want to have, you need to understand this Jablonski diagram. This Jablonski diagram shows that you have the beta diketone complex as europium. You have surrounded with the anionic ligand and neutral ligand. So this neutral ligand, anionic ligand and neutral ligand. The neutral ligand is supposed to have such type of environment. For example, the gap between T1 and S1 is supposed to be 5000 centimeter inverse. If you have a T1 to F level, 2500 centimeters, you can easily get, a red emission. There's the efficient energy transfer. But in case if you have the mismatch in the energy level, you get all the emission. For example, blue emission comes from the fluorescent, which is S1 to S0, T1 to S0, this is a phosphorescence. Then you can also have red emission from the F level. Because the heavy metal ion effect promotes the intersystem crossing from S1 to T1 level. So you can have efficient energy transfer, you get a white light, inefficient energy transfer, you get a red color. So we recently designed a molecule which has a phenanthrene-imidazole, which has a linkage pi body with a triphenylamine, with also having two methyl group over here. So this compound shows, one of them shows the HLCT characteristic, other one doesn't show the HLCT characteristic. And then if you incorporate this phosphor in the top of the near UV LED, you get a spectrum like this, which is almost equal to your sunlight, which has a LER value of 307 lumens per watt. The CRI value is 87% as compared to sunlight, which is 100%. When you go to the other compound, which is having little one, so it shows a shallow emission. However, this CRI value also increases 89% from 87%. Almost both of them is very equal. The next one, the previous compound we have this, right? So now I wanted to use this by using chemistry to make it lock this carbon-carbon bond. Basically, it is a carbazole linkage. So when you do that, what is the environment that is changing? So that means that the Jablonski diagram, whatever I showed in the previous slide, there is a efficient energy transfer occurs. You can easily see that it is very good red color it's showing. It is not showing the as you expected multiple emission. It's showing only red emission. You can also see that this can be used for LED, which can down convert. You can make it a LED with a red LED. Also, you can use also fingerprint, latent fingerprint application. So, one of my students have taken his fingerprint and exposed to the 365 nanometer. We can able to see that the cross terminal bifraction force, because we have identified each of them having their own identity. So, one can use for these fingerprint, latent fingerprint applications. The next compound we have, the molecules we have this monomer as well as the hexamer. So hexamer and is a joint of two molecules. Monomer is only one molecule. But if I see this ligand, you have this anthracene with a pyridine, which can connect to the europium. This pyridine in solution shows two types of emission. The one structural emission belongs to monomer. The other one belongs to the hexamer emission. So this hexamer and monomer hexamer a combination which gives a white light emission. So we can also see that the compound that we are making with a combination with the europium is also showing white light emission with having CRI of 83%. Of course, this is also one of the work that is just published in Inorganic Chemistry Frontier. So where what we did in our previous work, yellowish white color, which has been published in ACS Inorganic Chemistry, we replaced this heteroatom by nitrogen by one benzene ring. We could able to align this spectrum and we can able to get a broad line of spectrum which has a CRI value of 81%. Next, there is an important topic that we would like to see. The lanthanide fluoride material has been used for many nanomaterials. The fluoride matrix is very much important because the fluoride matrix has a low phonon. Phonon means is a quantized lattice vibration. If you have a lot of vibration, as we have previous talk, we would have listened Professor Adachi Sensei was telling that if you have a non-radiative emission, so there is always a problem, you will not get a radiative emission because there is a competition between this non-radiative and radiative emission. When you have radiative emission, you can able to see from high. Non-radiative emission is nothing but a heat that is comes out from the sample. Okay, so now this lanthanum fluoride, which is known for very good nanomaterial. What we did is, however, this shows very poor emission intensity with having only 17% of quantum yield. But when you cap with the ligand DBM, dibenzoyl methane as a ligand, then you can see that the absolute quantum yield is increased to 80%. So this is also giving very wonderful things because it acts as a organic antennas, like it receives this energy, then transfer to the lanthanides and can produce emission from the triplet to D0, pi D0 level, and you can get a pi D0 to 7F09, which gives a white light emission. Which gives a pure red emission in the solution and solid, but when you dope in the polymer PMM matrix, we can able to get some kind of white light emission because DBM also is trying to emit in the region of 400 to 5 nanometer. The next component that I would like to talk about is AI-based HLCT emitters. Okay, so this is something that we are third generation, that is just Professor Adachi Sensei was explaining this, where T1 emission, the reverse intersystem goes here and then come back to the ground state by emitting photon, which call it as TADM. But you imagine if you have higher levels, T2 or T3, T4, which is matching with the S1 level, that also can able to give the hot exciton harvesting mechanism. So that we can see, this is a molecule that has been synthesized in our laboratory, which having tetraphenyl with having benzene as a spacer, having N1 position we have benzene with a CF3 molecule. So we could able to get the external quantum efficiency 15%, the CI value of sky blue emission we can able to get here. Okay, so this is the design. This is a synthesis method, and this is a PL emission, and you can able to see in thin film it shows sky blue emission, and we have verified also this with the Lipata Mataka plot where HLCT characteristic has been found. You can also see here this S1 level T4 is matching here T4 again, here also it is T3 to S1, here T4 to S1. Of course, this is a AI characteristic. It's a water and THF mixture. You can able to see that when you increase the water content, the emission intensity is increasing, and up to 80-90% it's increasing. Of course, this is a device structure that has been made. So we can see the EL emission of one of them is showing a sky blue, and this is the value that we can see here. It shows 14.81% of external quantum efficiency. And the next one that we collaborate with Professor Adachi, this molecules has been synthesized at IIT Hyderabad and back to QC University. And thanks to Dr. Iwachi and the Prasanna, who has put a lot of effort to make this arrive this. This has some green emission. We could able to get around external quantum efficiency of 9% in this. And the next one that I'm going to talk about is chiral compounds. We have chiral compounds are known in the lanthanides. It can be expected to have the dissymmetric factor high because the chiral compounds being used for 3D display, optoelectronic application, or anti-counterfeiting, bioimaging, etc. So we are concentrating on chiral organic emitters where we have structural rigidity and solubility and CT characteristic field efficiency. And we actually thoroughly understand that chemistry of lanthanides, chiral lanthanides, and organic TADF molecules, and then we have summarized in this JMCC paper. Of course, this dissymmetric factor, we can see here the nitrogen linked compound and O linked compound. So when you see here, one of them is 4-fold increase of chirality has been got in the case of N linkage compounds. So that is also it's in the under revision. Because now this work is going on with a single benzene, naphthalene, and kind of fused rings. Okay, so yeah, I thank my group very actively working. So basically the work that has been presented, Dr. Varaprasad and Ms. Samatha, and then also worked with Dr. Intaka Malam and Sandhya Rani Naik. I also thank the collaborator, Professor Adachi, Professor Vinish, Savita Patel, Nakanishi, and then funding agency, ANRF, etc. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I'm happy to answer if you have any queries.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shivam. So if anyone has any questions, thank you.
Sir, how did you measure the chirality of that molecule? You were saying that some
Currently
organic
we use CPL instrument. CPL.
Okay, and how why this chirality is very much important to that emission kind of thing that you were explaining earlier?
For example, if you wanted to, have light is having left and right hand, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So in order to get that, we need to use a lot of filters. Okay, in the display. So if you have molecule itself is emitting chiral emission, so then we don't need to use external thing. For example, in LCD displays, right? You are using, right? So quantum dot LEDs, etc. You need a backlight unit where you use quantum dot as a white light. Then you use different color filters and filter them and show in the LCD monitor. But in case of here, you don't need to use any filters to do that. Okay, so similarly, organic displays, organic LEDs, we don't need any backlight unit. So that's the difference.
Sujit.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shivam. So I have a question for the TP compounds.
Tetraphenylethylene? Yes, please.
So you show the AI properties. So is it have some excitation light dependency?
Okay, so with a different wavelength?
Intensity dependency.
By excitation with a different wavelength?
No. Intensity, excitation intensity. Strong light and weak light.
Oh, I have not checked that. When it depends, like for example, you are saying that when you increase the power and use IR, like up conversion type, you are talking
about. So
kind of increasing the absorption intensity. I mean, like kind of the light which is falling, you have to increase the intensity you are talking about. No, I have not. We have not checked. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shivam sir, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Please. I now invite Assistant Professor Ashik, Institute of Material Chemistry and Engineering, Kyushu University, to present on biomass, the green crude for a fossil-free future. Ashik, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Urabuli Mohammed Ashik, an assistant professor at Kyushu University. I have completed my education, like schooling in India, Kerala. As most of Indian students, somehow collaborating with IITs is a big dream. But today, I'm talking at IIT Hyderabad. Thank you, KYUDAI organizers, for making this happen. And today I have to talk to you about biomass, the green crude for fossil-free future. Biomass is not just a waste or not just a solid fuel, but it is a complex mixture of organic compounds. Converting biomass into valuable green chemicals and energy is a hope for the future. It's like a harvesting of hope. Before entering to the subject, let me introduce myself. I'm coming from Kerala, the south part of India. I have completed my education from schools near to my hometown. I have a bachelor's degree from Calicut University. After that, I have completed my master's degree from Hyderabad University. I have affiliated with the graduate research ISA Quantum as a graduate research assistant during this time. And after that, I moved back to my bachelor's degree, place, and I worked as a lecturer around 1 year. Then I have continued my education in nanoscience and nanotechnology. After that, in 2012, I moved to University of Malaya and completed my doctorate in reaction engineering. In 2017, I moved to Japan and joined Kyushu University and started working as an academic researcher. And then I promoted to specially appointed as a research assistant professor, and currently I'm working as an assistant professor in the same department. In order to introduce my department, let me talk about Kyushu University a little bit. There is a detailed explanation already given. As it was mentioned, it's one of the 7 imperial universities in Japan. This considered as the top, highly reputed universities in Japan, and their contribution towards the academic and research excellence is common to it. Kyushu University is, in terms of ranking, it performs very well every year consistently, and we have students from different parts of the world, over 109 countries and regions. With over 14% of students are foreign students in Kyushu University. We have a faculty ratio of 9:1. For 9 students, we have 1 faculty, and it is ensuring a proper academic support for each student. Research is the core of Kyushu University. We are able to acquire a grant of over 12.5 billion Japanese yen in 2025, and there is a good contribution goes from joint collaborative research. We have 20 graduate research schools, and it is housing numerous research institutes and centers. IMC, Institute for Material Chemistry and Engineering, is one of it, and I am belonging to IMC. IMC, what it's doing is, it is bridging the chemistry with chemical engineering in order to produce novel and next generation devices and materials. We have 6 divisions working at IMCE, and my division is Advanced Device Materials. We have 3 faculty members working in our lab. Our leader, Professor Junichiro Hayashi, and our associate professor, Shinji Kudo, and myself. We have 20 research students, including doctoral and master students. We all together working towards a single goal, that is carbon neutral and carbon negative processes. So what is carbon neutral processes? Carbon neutral process is actually balancing carbon we emit into the atmosphere to the carbon we remove from the atmosphere. We all know about 4 industrial revolutions, Revolution 1, 2, 3, and 4. All these industrial revolutions brought us huge changes and improved our quality of life, as we know. First industrial revolution brought us the steam engine and mechanization technologies. The second revolution brought us electricity, mass production technologies. All these changes happened with a cost. Most of these revolutions were heavily dependent on non-renewable resources, mainly fossil fuel, crude oil. This crude oil became the backbone of our industry. It was fueling our transportation, it was powering our industry, and even an entire petrochemical industry was formed around based on fossil fuel. However, at the same time, the same resource that causes huge changes in human generation, that is finally started to cause destabilizing our planet. The carbon dioxide content or level in our atmosphere reached 419 ppm in 2023. It is actually very much higher than what it was in the pre-industrial era. This high quantity of carbon dioxide in our ambient air actually increased the global temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And this huge temperature rise is causing calamities all over the globe, and we need to control this temperature. According to the studies, we need to at least control the temperature at least by 2 degrees Celsius. And here is the relevance of carbon neutrality. Carbon neutrality is not just essential for environmental concern, but it is a next stage for human growth. So we need to know what is crude oil, as we all know what is crude oil. Actually, what we called crude oil today was biomass millions of years back. It was living organisms, animals, plants, died, buried under deep earth, and it has processed under high temperature and pressure. It was losing its oxygen content, moisture content, and increasing the quantity of carbon and hydrogen, and became a crude oil. One day, human beings found it and started to dig it, and actually developed an entire civilization around based on this fossil fuel. The fossil fuel actually contains alkanes, aromatic hydrocarbons, trace metals, and elements such as carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, and oxygen. The calamities, the problems caused by this fossil fuel, when it is raising the growth, it is bringing the growth for human generation. At the same time, it causes huge problems too. So we are looking forward for an alternative. The answer is the same starting point, biomass. Biomass also contains similar materials or chemicals, such as it contains hydrocarbons, it contains sulfur, nitrogen, carbon, and it contains trace metals. So we cannot expect biomass to be, if we are putting biomass into a refinery, and we are expecting it to behave like a petroleum, it is not going to happen. Because the biomass contains huge quantity of oxygen and moisture. So we need to process it. Biomass is a huge resource for us. For every country, it is like a global resource. In Japan, we are producing over 100 million tons of biomass from the existing sources, existing processes. When we are considering India, it will be much higher than that. It is only waste. But we have the opportunity to grow biomasses for energy purposes and for conversion processes. So that is the advantage with the biomass. We don't want to wait millions of years to produce crude oil, but we have the technology that can be processed and converted to biomass into valuables. The biomass, there are different technologies developed by researchers to convert biomass into valuables, ranging from solid fuel into jet fuel. In short, the third industrial revolution. In the third industrial revolution, the crude oil was the king, but it is deciding everything, including the political scenarios. But in fourth industrial revolution, the industry is shifting towards more sustainable and novel technologies, and the crown of crude oil is slipping actually. At this shift, biomass is at the center stage. Biomass is leading the shift with as an alternative crude oil. Our lab is actually focusing on biomass pyrolysis, that is converting biomass into pyrolytic gas, char, and pyrolytic oil. This is a sort of bio crude oil, and we are able to process it into useful chemicals and energy. As the center point of this presentation, I would like to introduce Simplex. This is a next generation biomass technology, gasification technology that is developed by our professor, Junichiro Hayashi. It is able to convert biomass into syngas with a coal gas efficiency over 96%. So what is coal gas efficiency? Coal gas efficiency tells us what is the energy retained in the product. In our case, by syngas. Syngas is the compound, a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So what is the energy remained in syngas compared to the initial energy that was existing with the initial resource biomass? So what are the main processes involved in Simplex? I have, I think, 2, 3, 4 minutes, so I will try to conclude as fast as possible. We divide the process into 2 stages. The first stage is a screw conveyor pyrolyzer that is converting biomass into volatiles, volatiles and char. That is passing into the second stage of the gasification stage. That is running at 730 degrees Celsius. And we used a mixed gas stream, that is CO2 and oxygen, and we used the optimum potassium amount for catalytic enhancement. And interestingly, the gasification stage, the gases come out of the gasifier is very hot. It is coming from a phase of 730 degrees Celsius. So obviously the gas comes out of the gasifier must be very hot. Normally, all processes are wasting that temperature. We just simply cooling down the gases and recover the gas. But what we do is, we recycle the gas for pyrolysis stage, the first stage, and we were able to use that hot gas in order to heat the reactor for pyrolysis stage. This is how actually a huge jump in the coal gas efficiency came from. Basically, for gasification stage, coal gas efficiency in the range of 80% considered as an excellent technology. But Simplex brought us a coal gas efficiency over 96%, entirely different and a huge jump from a basic concept. And when we check the performance matrix of this Simplex technology, we were able to convert at an optimum temperature, optimum catalytic loading, we were able to convert the 100% carbon in biomass into product. And the syngas yield, was over 96%, which means the carbon content of 96% of carbon content in biomass can be converted to syngas. And the ultimate result is tar concentration. We were able to make an ultra clean syngas that is suitable for Fischer-Tropsch synthesis and further chemical recovery. And finally, we were able to recover the potassium we used for catalytic purposes. We simply washed the material, the remaining material, with the water, and we were able to recover potassium in the form of potassium hydroxide and potassium carbonate. And this was potassium rich water we used for further impregnation of the biomass, and we use as the next cycle of biomass pyrolysis. Finally, the Simplex technology that is developed in our lab is able to convert biomass with excellent conversion, 100% carbon conversion, and with 96% of CO carbon monoxide yield, and over 96% of coal gas efficiency. And finally, we were able to recover the potassium and recycle, used for cyclic usage. Our lab is going to construct reactors set up in collaboration with a Japan-based company that is supposed to have a 30,000 ton biomass conversion capacity, and we are hopefully we are looking forward to launch it in 2030. And thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ashish.
I like the concept. You didn't go in the detail of the reactor. Definitely. I just want you to know that because your carbon monoxide and hydrogen are the two products you got.
Yes.
But what are the byproducts, additional byproducts you got in the whole process?
Yes.
And how much cycles of your catalyst can we work out? Because the catalytic load is also, if it is, I don't know which you use, but how many cycles can go and how much the cost of the catalyst if you compare with the energy output?
Actually, when we are doing the pyrolysis process, we are getting huge quantity of tar. That is a big problem in biomass pyrolysis and gasification. As we, in my process, there are two stages, as you can see here. This is the pyrolysis zone and this is the gasification zone. If we are doing pyrolysis only, the tar component is over 400 milligram of tar comes from 1 run. And when we are when the syngas passes to the second stage, it is reduced into less than 1 milligram. That is a huge change. And the byproducts, as you mentioned, is all included in the tar. Actually, when we get a byproduct, it is a difficult part in biomass gasification stage. That is making the tar is actually sticky form. It can block the reactor and damage the entire process. So our aim was to minimize the tar, minimize the byproduct. So it is from 400 milligram, 400 gram, it becomes to less than 1 milligram. So it is like almost 99.9% conversion of the byproduct into syngas. So it is like almost zero byproduct. We were able to over 96% of the carbon in the biomass is converted into syngas. Yes. Actually, that is the success of this process.
So I have a few questions. So wonderful presentation. So the same track. So are you have any plans for commercialization of this technology?
Yes, definitely yes. We are working with Tokyo-based company, and we are. I think they are doing the preliminary things to establish a reactor, and we are launching next month like a pilot scale reactor into like now we are using in the range of 1 kilogram biomass load, but the construction is going on in our lab for a much bigger scale, and hopefully it will be functioning from couple of months.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, actually I'm much more curious. You got a very good efficiency of 96%, but I'm curious about the techno-economic aspect of that. And have you tried the life cycle assessment of the whole process?
Honestly, I do not have the data for the life cycle assessment. But 96% efficiency, the coal gas efficiency, means indicating the further phase of life cycle assessment, and it is showing excellent performance. So we basically most of the component we use is we use cedar. Cedar is like a wood based. Cedar is a wood actually. So we are using wood chips from the agricultural waste. So our almost all resources are like almost freely available, and we use potassium catalyst that is exceptionally low cost material, and we were able to recycle even the low cost potassium for cyclic application. So in a preliminary view, it is not a costly process. And few companies are interested to make plans for a higher scale production. So definitely, it is viable for industrial development.
Thank you so much, Ashik. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. Please, Ashik Sensei.
Thank you very much, and I welcome for any personal conversation. You feel free to contact me through email or phone number. Thank you very much.
I now invite Assistant Professor Sipra Mohapatra, Faculty of Agriculture, Kyushu University, to present on human food security through fish, the sustainable approach. To present.
Thank you, Arthur, for the introduction. It was very kind. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Sipra from Kyushu University. It seems like I am the last presenter of the evening, and I would like to thank all the previous presenters who have enlightened us on a myriad of information. Thank you very much. So today I'll be speaking about human food security, especially through the use of fish. So before I tell you all what we have been doing in our lab, I will give a very brief introduction about why fish is important and why aquaculture is the next step in global food security. It is expected that by 2050, the world population will reach around 10 billion. And with this exponential increase in population, there will be a nearly 70% increase in food demand. And this food demand and the food supply will create a protein crisis. So what can we do to fill this gap? So what we propose is that this protein crisis can be solved by the use of fish. Why fish? So fish, as we know, is very rich in omega-3 fatty acid along with EPA and DHA, which is very, very good for human brain and health. Additionally, fish is also very eco-friendly. So the carbon dioxide emission per gram of protein is very negligible in fish in comparison to the higher vertebrates. And additionally, it is also very cost effective and has the most efficient protein conversion ratio. The feed conversion ratio, which is mostly like how much feed is given to raise 1 kg of body mass, it is very efficient in fish. For example, in salmon, if we feed the fish 1 kg, we are going to get 1 kg of meat. But this is nearly 6 times more in cattle. So ultimately, we can say that, okay, fish is very efficient and can be used as a protein source. Now, how can we get fish onto our plate? Mostly there are 2 different ways. One is through captive fisheries, while the other is aquaculture. And here, as we can see in this graph, for the last 3 decades, there is a stagnancy in the captive fisheries. However, there is a significant and steady increase in the aquaculture sector. And mostly we can see, but in 2020, especially in 2022, the aquaculture production has surpassed the captive fisheries. Now we cannot talk about aquaculture without talking about India, because India has a very vast coastline. And India is one of the rising global aquaculture leaders, as it is the 3rd fish producer in the world, the 2nd aquaculture producer, and the 1st shrimp exporter all over the world. And we are expecting a Blue Revolution 2.0, which is going to see huge investments and is going to change the total aquaculture scenario. In this context, we can say that we are very lucky to have huge marine resources, but this is still untapped. And this marine resources, it holds nearly 100 times more potential of production expansion by industrialization. Mostly, if we change the traditional fish farming techniques and intensify it or mechanize it, both onshore and offshore, we can say that it will result in a higher growth, economic growth, especially the blue economic growth, so which is presently at $1.5 trillion. But if we utilize these marine resources in a proper way, we can reach around $4 trillion. So this is a very brief background about aquaculture. Now coming to what we have been doing at Kyushu University in our lab. So we have 3 labs. One is situated in the Ito campus. We also have a marine research lab at Karatsu Satellite. And we also have a fisheries lab, which is mostly concerned with aquaculture R&D at Suezaki. So now, in our lab, we take a very integrated approach. We try to use all our ideas about involving genetics, breeding, nutrition, environment together and work towards sustainability. Amongst various other fish which we have been using mostly mackerel as an experimental animal. It's a marine fish and it's very likable by the Japanese people. So what we have done is that we have established the controlled breeding of this fish in our lab, which has nullified or really reduced the dependency on the wild fish stocks. So over the last few years, in collaboration with various researchers and the local government agencies, we have been successful in establishing a strain which is called Q-AOS. So what is most important about this Q-AOS is that it is anesthetic free and has a very higher growth than the widely caught fish. Additionally, we are also involved in smart ICT and AI assisted tools, especially in doing real-time monitoring of fish, as well as in understanding the fish behavior. Especially in the second video, as you can see, when the feed is given, all the fish make a spool and rush towards the feed. So this real-time monitoring has helped us in understanding the fish behavior, and it has also helped in reducing the fish feed wastage, thereby reducing the cost of aquaculture, thus increasing the profitability of aquaculture. In our lab, we are also involved in controlling the reproduction of the fish. We want to induce early maturation of the fish by either hormonal interventions or by environmental control. And the aim of this work is to gain year-round supply of fish seeds or seedlings and reducing the dependency on the wild-caught stock. So when we are working with mackerel, one of the most important problem or hurdle is cannibalism. So what we are doing is that we have used cutting-edge genetic techniques like CRISPR or TALEN, and we have established a strain which is nearly 80% less in cannibalistic nature and also has very higher growth. So additionally, I would like to mention that in Japan, we can commercialize 3 fish species. Do you know which are the 3 species which is approved by the Japanese government, the genetic edited fish? So it's mostly red sea bream, fugu, and flatfish. And we hope we will be the 4th with this fish. So the major hurdle of using genetically modified fish for commercialization is to control its IPR. So the most important problem is that if these genetically modified fish are released into the wild, then it can contaminate the genetic pool of the wild. So in order to find a solution for this, we are also working in sterilizing the fish. That is, that we are trying to make a fish which has really no genetic material in its gonad. As you can see here, the right hand side is the normal wild-caught fish, and this is the sterile fish. Our lab is also working on developing germline stem cell technology. So germline stem cell technology have the potency to either form eggs or sperms. So we are involved in establishing cryopreservation techniques so that we can store these germline stem cells and we can produce egg and sperms wherever and whenever it is necessary. We have also been working on genomic selection by the use of DNA markers. I hope you all have visited my student Chikaran-san's poster, which explains this slide. Lastly, we are also working on improving the gut microbiota of the fish. So it is established that a diverse microbiome leads to a healthy fish. So what we have been doing is that we have been tweaking with the feed ingredients of the fish and mostly using the byproducts of various industries like silkworm pupae or mealworm and substituting the fish meal with these byproducts in order to again supplement towards the circular economy. So our lab envisions that in the future we will collaborate all these factors like the genomics, sustainable feed, IP protection, and smart systems, and work towards climate resiliency and ensure food security and further improve the blue economy, all paving a path towards sustainable future. So these are a few key takeaways from my talk today. Thank you very much. I'm open for discussion.
Thank you so much, Sensei. So now it's the time for discussion. Please have any questions.
Okay. So thanks for next presentation. I'm not much related to that, but just for the genomics point of view. So you know that in India especially, the genomics is completely banned. The government don't allow the genome modification. Okay. So okay, in parts maybe there. So I just wonder that if you release these species in the main system, in the wild system, so is they are habitual with the different varieties of fishes, or they are like more because it is in a controlled environment, so they are not used to like feed themselves. So you need to make a system like where they can grow easily, like a cultivation in the laboratory, and then you place in the ocean, or they can mix with the other fishes. I'm not sure about it, but.
So actually it's like two different parts. So one is, I'd like to answer is that as about their feeding and all those things, we try to simulate equal environment, like either it is in a cage culture or in the open environment, it is in a cage. It's like in the ocean in a cage. So the environment, the temperature is all similar. But the problem with genetically modified fish is that if it is released into the wild, it can breed with the normal wild fish, and the product which might get might not be a desirable one which we want. So we don't want these fish to be released into the wild. So for that, we are doing sterilization of the fish so that the genetic material is not passed. And another point is that if these fish are stolen, then we lose all the data. And if you catch a very good genetically modified fish, you can just go further from there. So for all these reasons, the IPR is there, and we are trying not to release it into the wild. I hope that answered your question. I don't know.
I just thought like a pet dog cannot survive in the wild dogs, so a pet fish can survive in a wild fish.
No, I think they can survive because the conditions are nearly similar. When we are culturing them in the lab and the one that is in the wild, it is nearly similar. So the feed we are giving is also very similar to what they are finding in the wild.
Thank you so much, Madam. Anyone else? So I have this one quick question. So the Qs are right now. I realize that they are sold in the market, right? So when you see in India has this thing for genetically modified products to be released in the market. It's always a hurdle. How was it in Japan?
In Japan, obviously the first few years were difficult, but when we say that this Q-Saba, it provides so many advantages. It is a good taste, it has no anesthetics, so it's very, very good for sashimi. So the most problematic thing about mackerel was anesthetics. So when we say that this Q-Saba has no anesthetics, that creates a positivity. And so after a few years, we found that it was very, very highly accepted by the people of Japan.
The genetic modification itself didn't make people scared about.
No, I don't think so. No. The advantages, when you weigh the advantages with the genetically modified thing, I think the advantage is higher ground.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just a supplement on what like Dr. Pankaj was asking. Recently India has released genome edited, not genetic modified, genome edited 2 plant rice varieties, which was done by ICR. And as far as animal and aquatic animal is concerned, this is the guidelines is formed. And hopefully by this year end, we are going to have some regulation to utilize genome edited animal as well as genome edited fish in Myanmar. So this is what recent development.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, Sipra Sensei, for a wonderful presentation. Thank you. So, next we move on to a very interesting presentation, which will be particularly interesting for students who aspire to come to Japan. So, I welcome Assistant Professor Harsha Prakash from Faculty of Agriculture. She's going to talk about her experiences of visiting Japan and how it turns out. So, Harsha, please.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Harsha Prakash. I'm from the Faculty of Agriculture and Kyushu University Institute of Asian and Oceanian Studies in Kyushu University. I joined Kyushu University as a PhD student and I'm now working as a faculty member there. So I would like to share my journey, how it was for me to go from a student to a faculty member. So just to place it geographically, I mean, you already heard all about Kyushu University and where Kyushu University is. Kyushu University is the Kyushu Island in Fukuoka city. It's one of the 7 imperial universities in Japan. It was founded in 1911. I'm not going into the details. And we have different campuses. Like I spend most of my time in Ito campus and Hakozaki campus. Hakozaki campus is not there anymore. It was demolished and we completely relocated to Ito campus in 2018. Ito campus it's slightly away from the city but a very calm and peaceful place. When I joined, the Indian community was very small. That meant like a few people from my similar background. Now we are 49 Indians in Ito campus, I mean in the whole Kyushu University. This was my journey to Kyushu University. I didn't come straight from college. After my master's, I worked in a company for 2 years. And while working there, I decided to do a PhD abroad. And my interest in Japan, it's because of my master supervisor, Professor Sudhakaran. He did his postdoc in Japan, and I remember one of his presentations. Yeah, he's there. I remember one of his presentations, and because of him, I was interested in Japan. So I applied to different professors in Japan. Some of them replied, and I also got this. MEC scholarship. So yeah, I came to Japan in 2015 for doing my PhD. And after completing my PhD, I continued working in the same lab as a technical staff. And then that position was transitioned to postdoc. And in 2024, I happened to see a job advertisement in one of the academic job portal for a postdoc position in the Q-AOS. And I applied, I got the job. And my supervisor, Professor Mako Nakamura, she was kind enough to make me a research assistant professor in like 1 month. And then after a few months, I got the faculty position. So moving to Japan, it came with a lot of adjustments, like not major problems, but you know, the everyday things, it took some time to get used to. So these are like just a few things. A few culture shocks I had, like the onsen culture or like the peaceful, you know how the public transportation is here in India, it's very noisy. But in Japan, like people don't talk or like it's completely silent, like pin drop silence. And yeah, quiet and respectful driving etiquette. So here, you know, once you're on the road, all you hear is like pee pee pee. But they don't use the horn, and And I'm really surprised how they manage. Even when we go to even if it's a hairpin kind of road, they don't horn, they don't horn, but somehow there is no accidents there. It's nice, yeah. So initially, all of these things, it was very unfamiliar, but gradually it became my normal. And also the shops in Japan, it all closes by 8 o'clock. That was also a big surprise for me because after 8 o'clock there is nothing. It's so silent. But here in India, we become active after 8 o'clock, right? Yeah. So that was a huge difference. So these experiences really taught me, how to manage in a completely new environment. So I'm grateful for all that. And this was my routine for several years. I spent a lot of time in the lab, learning through trial and error methods and becoming comfortable on working on my own. And one thing that surprised me was how much independence was expected from the early on. The lab atmosphere was completely different in India and Japan. There, you are supposed to you are encouraged to think for yourself, and you have to take the responsibility for your work. There was no one to spoon feed me, so that was a huge difference for me. And both the labs I have worked in are really nice, fortunately. Along with the research, we also have fun. We go for lab trips every year, like a 2-3 day trip. We book some hotel or some cabins in the forest or on mountain top, and we stay there. So these trips really help me to balance the intensity of the research. And it also helped me to build the trust and communication within the lab. We also have these lab activities. We go together for activities like pottery making or soba. Like soba making and all those activities. So we do that every year. So it also helped me to interact with my lab members beyond the experiments, and it also made my life easier inside the lab and easier to work with people from different backgrounds. I also got involved in different campus activities. We organized an Indian cultural and educational event. This is one of the events. It's called One Day Report. We organize it every year. We just started doing this 2 years back. We organize it every year as a part of Asia Week. It showcases Indian art and culture. And these activities kind of helped me to stay connected with my community and my culture, and also gave me the confidence to engage in more activities on campus. And there are a lot of Japanese people in Fukuoka who are really interested in Indian culture. So they always attend these kinds of events. So we always have a huge number of participation, mostly from the local Japanese people. Most of them are local Japanese people. And sometimes, so as I told you, there are a lot of Japanese people who are interested in Indian culture. They are also interested in Indian food and Indian cooking. So sometimes Japanese people, they come to my home to learn cooking, like how to cook idli or how to cook dosa. They want to experience the whole thing, they want to sit down and eat with hand and those kind of things. And they also invite me to their home. We do barbecue together. We go for hiking together. And I think I'm very fortunate enough to make a lot of Japanese friends. And these people made my life very easier in Fukuoka, in Japan. And this is our Alumni Association. We have an Indian Alumni Association in Kyushu University. It's called IAQ. It's very new. We just got certified this November. So the idea is to just stay connected and support each other. So we are very new, but we are still growing. And Kyushu University has a very good international environment. We have 14% of the students in Kyushu University are international students. So 1 in 7 Kyushu University students is from overseas. So being with people from all these different countries also helped me to grow personally. And living in Fukuoka made my daily life better easier. Fukuoka is such a lovely place. You know, it's the most desirable city to live in Japan, and the food is the best in Fukuoka. And it's also a city of immense beauty and culture. So these are some of the places in and around Fukuoka. So the food in Fukuoka is great, as I said. I'm a non-vegetarian, so I didn't have a big issue when I went to Japan. But for vegetarian people, I think it's a little more challenging for finding a good vegetarian place. But Fukuoka is changing every day. Now we can get vegan ramen, vegan burger, and all in the city. So yeah, I think it's fine. And other than the events inside the university, we also have these kind of cultural events in Fukuoka city. So Namaste Fukuoka, it happens every year, and a huge number of people attend this event every year. Mostly for the food and for the dance. And there is a big dance group in Fukuoka, like Indian dance group in Fukuoka. So they do this Bollywood dance and also Bharatanatyam, Kathak, all Indian classical dances. And one thing I didn't expect was like how important is a community once I settled in Japan. So this organization called IJSST, India-Japan Society for Science, Technology and Education, it's an organization involving researchers, students, and professionals from both Japan and India. I joined this organization last year, but through this organization I met a lot of people outside my laboratory or outside my university. So why I'm sharing this is because this organization is a good platform for you to find your potential supervisor. So IJSST has different chapters based on the cities, like Hokkaido chapter, Kansai chapter, Kyushu Okinawa chapter. And under each chapter, you can find the list of professors working in that area. So if you are interested in if you want to study in Japan, if you're looking for a potential supervisor, I think this organization is really helpful. This was the inaugural function of the Kyushu Okinawa chapter of IJSST. It happened last November, and I serve as the secretary of Kyushu Okinawa chapter. And yeah, I made a lot of connections through this chapter, a lot of collaborations, a lot of connections. Yeah. And the scholarships. I included this slide because I get a lot of emails asking about the scholarships in Japan. So mixed is the main scholarship in Japan. There are 2 different kinds of mixed scholarship, embassy recommendation and university recommendation. Embassy recommendation is straightforward, you just apply through the embassy. And university recommendation, first you have to find a supervisor, and with his help, you have to apply through the university. So the university will recommend you to mixed. And these are some other scholarships. So Japan Student Services Organization, JASO, it has a scholarship. And there are several local government, local international association scholarships and private scholarship like Mitsubishi Scholarship. And there are also on-campus scholarships and tuition fee exemption. So you can apply for most of these private scholarships and these fee reduction programs once you are in Japan. So once you enroll in a program, you can apply for these scholarships. In Kyushu University, we have a pre-admission support desk. So if you are interested in joining Kyushu University, you can contact them. They will help you to find a supervisor. So especially if you are applying from abroad, I think these kind of things are really helpful. And there is also a website called Study in Japan. It's a government-approved information site, and you get almost all the information from this website. So whenever students ask me, I get a lot of emails. I literally get emails every day asking how to apply in Japan and how to apply for a scholarship. So this, you can check this website. It has all the information. It's pretty detailed. So yeah, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hashi-sensei, for a wonderful presentation. I'm sure that the students have something to ask her. Ready?
Thank you very much. So, most of the students are interested in career after the graduation or getting degree. So, what is the major opportunity for the graduates from the Kyushu University?
To have a career in Japan.
Yeah, because I don't want them to come back immediately after the PhD or masters. I want them to stay back.
It depends like where you want to work. If you are looking for an industrial job, you definitely need Japanese, at least N2 level. But if you want to work in academic field, it's okay. So for example, in Kyushu University, we have IUP, like international undergraduate programs or undergraduate programs. So for that, you don't really need Japanese. So according to me, knowing Japanese is the most important thing to get a job in Japan, and then the rest.
Yeah, but I think you could develop the Japanese proficiency during your studency, right? So I think we don't have to scare people.
I'm not scary, but that's the reality. But yeah.
Yeah. So in my because many students have gone to Japan already, and because language doesn't need a formal education. It's just a matter of life and survival is good enough to begin with.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true. But
yeah,
the companies are asking for this JLPT.
So, yeah, that is something that I really want them to stop it. Thank you. Yeah.
JLPT doesn't mean the proficiency.
Yeah, exactly. JLPT doesn't mean the proficiency. Sometimes, like some students in our labs, yeah, they can speak very well, but they don't have a certificate. And people who have like JLPT N2 or N1, they cannot really communicate. So I don't think it can measure anything. But companies are still looking for N2 or N1 level.
Okay.
Fisheries-based industry, they are not actually asking for any JLPT certificate.
Okay, I was after my PhD, when I was looking for jobs, I got selected in 2 companies, but they didn't offer me a research position because my Japanese is bad. So they told me I get bioscience in Tokyo and another marine company in Tokyo, towns.
I'm really sorry to hear about your experience.
So they told me I can work in business development instead of research. So I didn't take up those.
So anyways, you took a good call. Our assistant was at Kyushu University.
Yeah, I'm happy. I enjoyed the company.
can ensure and assure you that most of the people in Japan can speak very, very good English. So that's a very positive point if you all want to go. Please do come. Thank you.
Aisha Sensei, if you have one quick message for the aspiring students who wants to come to Japan,
Yeah, as Sipra Sensei said, like, I mean, you don't really need Japanese to come and study in Japan, that's for sure, because my Japanese is still not very good. I'm not proud to say that, but yeah, and you too. Yeah, okay. So yeah, but I have a lot of Japanese friends, and my life in Japan is really good. I would say that. So without N2 or N1 level Japanese. So